were made that he could leave. Isak continues to push for that move to Liverpool, and Mr. Jordan has some advice for his representatives.
If you're an agent and a club official sits in front of you and he says, look, OK, I'll give you an implicit understanding that if something comes along, we'll agree to it. Put it in writing.
How's this for timing? Newcastle host Liverpool on Monday night. You can hear that live here on talkSPORT. Some transfer news in brief. Leon Bailey's joined Roma on a season-long loan. There's an option to buy the Villa winger for £19 million. And Palace are closing in on the signature of El Kanous from Leicester. A verbal agreement is in place. Once he's in, we expect Eze's move to Tottenham to progress. Rangers legend Ali McCoist has called the latest defensive performance at Ibrox horrendous.
We are, at this moment in time, no doubt a Europa League side, mate. Absolutely 100% a Europa League side.
A 3-1 home defeat to Club Brugge. The second leg of their Champions League playoff is a week today. Next, it looks like Peter Shilton's lost his world appearance record. Fluminense say their keeper Fabio's now played 1,391 games. The 44-year-old made his pro debut back in 1997. And Scott Minto's told talkSPORT with Chelsea competing in the Champions League this season, he'd be happy with fourth place at home and a deep run in Europe.
But I still feel they do need to bring in another player if Chelsea are to really go for the Premier League and Champions League.
Chelsea's trip to West Ham's our live game on Friday night right here on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT. With QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres.
At least a dozen
like
councils across England are considering challenging asylum seekers being housed in hotels in their local areas, and it's not looking good if you're on a variable mortgage. Inflation's gone up, and it was higher than expected. There's more with the news team at past. As for the weather...
I really have got to stop grooving to the music. For one thing, since we went a bit visual, I know some of you still listen without watching on television.
Some of you.
I know.
All of you.
The one thing I've learned from Trans-Europe Express, actually, on Sunday night, is do not do the chair dancing, because it looks, I'm going to say it again, it looks like Donald Trump's dancing.
It did, didn't it?
It looked like the way Donald Trump does that dancing when he stood up. I must stop that. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Kelly and Jacobs. About 3 hours we got actually a great show today, because as well as the usual Andy comedy classics and plenty of sports guests as well, we'll be going back and forth to York for four huge races, including what's the big one called, Andrew? Remind me. Juddmonte, which has got a first prize of £750,000.
I know.
So when you hear about and I don't think that Rupert will be very kind, very happy to hear me saying this. When you hear about racing, we haven't got any money, right? £750,000 to the owners of the first horse past the post. That's pretty amazing. We'll be going back to Rupert Bell, and Louis Stewart is going to be on as well, because I think the normal partner is having a baby, isn't she?
She is, Lizzie.
Yeah. Lizzie, oh bless her, Lizzie Kelly, yes. No relation. Listen, thank you for joining us then. We'll be having all the usual bits and pieces. We'll be joined by the hardest geezer. You remember him? He walked the length of Africa. Now he's doing something much further north. He's going to walk across the top of Iceland. Please keep your 1990s grocery store jokes to yourself. I see, Andy. I'm supposed to finish the intro, haven't I? The music's running out, isn't it? All right. Welcome, everybody, to Kelly and Jacobs here on talkSPORT.
Marvellous. Now, Danny,
Andy directed me there to shut up. That was good.
I don't normally do anything like that.
No, that was very good.
No, last night I was sitting at home watching the football. Not watching the football, watching telly.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly text this is a disgrace or something like this,
Yeah.
the disaster. And I suddenly realised Rangers were on. So it was the usual Tuesday confusion of where is it? First I tried BT.
Yes.
Then I tried the Discovery Channel. Yes, they had some games. Not all. Then, of course, it's Amazon. It's
You
Tuesday
tried
night.
Hallmark, but they wasn't on there.
By the time you get it, like another 5 minutes, you've lost. But actually managed to catch the end of it. And honestly, I mean, it's great to see Russell Martin has got Rangers playing like Southampton.
Well,
it's a tremendous achievement.
Well, Southampton in the Premier League rather than the Southampton Championship.
Not the one in the
Look, when we had a guest on yesterday who was being pretty optimistic about Rangers, I mean, I was trying as gently as I could to temper his optimism with the certainty that Club Brugge have been doing this for several years now. They're also an incredibly well-run club. This year they've already sold £80 million worth, €80 million worth of talent, but still had plenty for Glasgow Rangers. But Andy, you've seen it over the last 40 years. When English and Scottish clubs, the thing that they're not prepared for is that technical thing that sometimes the continental clubs, when they're playing well, do, where they were attacking, as you expect Rangers to do in a home game, and then Club Brugge, when they got the chance, they sprung forward. But they don't do it automatically. They wait to see that the moment is right, that we can get 5-on-4 here, and they wait till the ball is at the feet of the right person as well, because that person can pass the ball 30 yards forward. Now, it was pretty easy against a Rangers defence that looked extraordinarily porous, but I've seen it year after year after year. We call it, they're technically better than us. Sometimes they're just tactically, they're very, very good at look, clubs on the continent, when they're playing against clubs from particularly the Premier League, they have to play on the break because they know that these expensively acquired squads are going to have a lot of the ball. But we don't seem to often know how to counter it. They were brilliant last night for the first 20 minutes. And after the game was over, and Rangers did well to get back into it, because if I had texted you at 5 at half-time, I wouldn't have been surprised at all.
No, they're not out of it. They're not, but it's going to. I mean, for them though, as a club, if they do lose next week and they lose to Celtic, then
they've got some really, really tricky. I mean, they don't need me to tell them. They got some really tricky fixtures coming up, Rangers, but they, I guess. How brave do you have to be to start talking already about? But the crowd have made their mind up, haven't they?
They have. It was a great moment, though. I do love it when the UEFA bloke with the board struggles to find the numbers, and the camera's on him. He knows the camera's on. The pressure.
Yeah.
It can't be that difficult, Kelly. There can't be that many numbers.
But it seems after, I suppose these number boards, the electronic number boards are what, we probably think 5 years. They're probably 25 years when we do it now. Somebody's always struggling with them. How hard? It can only be... I suppose there's 99 numbers.
99
there must be 99, yeah.
Does anybody know?
But you really, it's only in the last year you've got to use in the left-hand column, isn't it? Essentially, you've got to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Do they practice, do you think?
No, because when you see them the way they have to put it on their knee to try and get some kind of purchase on it.
They get the wrong thing. Good use of the word purchase there, only used in football.
Yeah, so you got tremendous purchase on the extra time board.
Never used anywhere
and
else.
I'm afraid, Andy, to disagree with you so early in the piece, but I don't agree that Rangers are still in it. I think, all things are possible.
Oh, no,
all things are possible. But again, Club Brugge are so used to these kind of games. But also, let me put a secondary point to you. For Russell Martin, for Rangers Football Club, and for the fans, to not get into the Champions League right now is the best thing that could happen to them. There's a financial issue, I get that. But they would get bombed out of every game with the standard they look at the moment.
Celtic did all right, though, last year. I know Celtic are
a better team.
I know they're a better team.
Yeah, they're just a better
They did
team.
all right, but,
Yeah, I just feel that for Rangers to go into the Champions League, the last time they were in the group stages, didn't they? I think they lost every game, or very nearly lost every game, and it cost the manager his job. And Russell Martin would find himself in the same situation. You have to play the first team because it's a prestigious tournament, the Champions League. So also you're making it more difficult for yourself in the league. So the Europa League, probably. We heard
they've done all right in the Europa League.
They'll be fine. They've done well in Europe
they have.
recently. But when they come up against, and all Brugge are an experienced team at this level, and they've got enough technical skill to get around Russell's apparent inability to organise a defence at this level. That will improve because, of course, 3 of the back 4, Andy, were absolute newcomers. One of them was making his debut; only arrived a couple of days earlier. But that's down to the manager how you put those teams out, isn't it?
That's true. More of that later. On this show over the years, we've managed to make the hole in one. We've monitored we've had every variation. Youngest person to get a hole in one.
Yes.
Person with one arm to get a hole in one. Ball hits bird, lands in the hole in one.
Good.
All that sort of thing. Any variation imaginable. Here's another one for you. Golfer Jack Ponsford, 93.
Wow.
Has laid claim to being the oldest Brit to hit a hole in one with an ace at Harrogate, North Yorks. And the thing about this is he was playing with his mate George Bruce, 97.
Yeah.
So he's just
Veteran George.
Jack's just a whippersnapper.
Yeah, the veteran George. So that
Two
was
of
a
them
great
look
shot.
great, though. Absolutely
Great shot,
great.
my son. Obviously it was a par 3 because we're all.
Yeah.
I'm no expert on gerontocracy and all the rest of it, but surely, an iron shot of par 3. Well, good luck to him. What was his name again?
Jack Ponsford.
Well done, Jack. That's absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely excellent.
Let me just run back, beep, 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 reverse back in there. Somebody with one arm has scored, or did you just say that for comedy?
No, I think I don't remember.
No.
Because I don't monitor them. Paul's probably got a list of them.
Oh, yeah, Paul probably had. I mean, if I could, the new studio, it's not the new studio, it's me. I'm still not able to use these screens buried in the glass in front of me.
I can't even see anything.
Without going off microphone like that. Then I can read it, but I'm off microphone. So I've decided to stick with I'll try over this side. No, I'm off the mic again. They'll soon send me back to Ireland. My days of being invited over here are probably very, very strictly limited now, aren't they? Give us one more, Andy, from your bits if you can.
One more.
Yeah, please.
I do love the way that the papers will make something of something that happens on TV that isn't anything. So this was Gary Neville. You may have seen this on Monday night. Gary Neville scored an own goal. He was caught slagging off footy fans in a Sky Sports hot mic moment. The pundit made the gaffe as Leeds supporters were shown on the screen after a break ahead of their clash with Everton. Nev said, they're the one group of fans I wouldn't want to go anywhere near. So it wasn't off mic, was it? It wasn't off we all saw it.
Yeah.
It was just another. We obviously know Gary's got a history with Leeds.
Yeah,
All he said was, I wouldn't like to be in the middle of those fans, basically.
Spot on. A chance for you to. Normally, as I say, the top of this show, was remarking to Charlie yesterday, is a chance for two geezers to show off. Here's your chance. Because yesterday we led with the fact that Charlie had taken the wicket of
Robson. Sam Robson.
Yeah, Sam Robson, the got a century against Sri Lanka, is my memory.
Middlesex player, good player.
Yeah, good player. Yeah. You have cut an absolute swathe through professional cricketers with your spin bowling, haven't you?
Mark Elaine, I got him out at Lords.
Yeah, all ends up. Mark virtually retired the next day, didn't he?
Well, he had retired already. Will Porterfield, the Irish.
Yeah, great player.
Stumped down the leg side.
Oh,
yeah. Fulton.
Yeah.
David Fulton, the Kent player, Hawksby bowled Jacobs.
Yeah.
I got a bloke out who plays for Sussex, but I can't remember his name.
Oh.
But it just shows you in cricket you can do this. Oh, Aravinda de Silva.
No.
I got Aravinda de Silva out, yeah.
So now, that's half a dozen.
I know.
Before you retire, you'll be able to have a full 11.
And the one day I bowled in front of you, I was absolutely pitiful.
Yeah, but the great thing about that, Andy, two things about that, as I explained to people on air yesterday. One, I couldn't actually see it because we were so far away in that
you
pub.
could hear it because I was commentating.
And two, it made great radio. I'll tell you how great the radio was, and then we'll go to the break. When I got in the next day, I was doing the handover with Adrian Durham, and Adrian said, that thing you did yesterday, that 3 hours from that cricket in Richmond Park. I said, yeah. And Adrian said, that was the most incredible radio I think I've ever heard.
Really?
And then he said nothing else. He left it open to interpretation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Absolutely. No. The look he gave me suggested it wasn't War of the Worlds with Orson Welles.
If you follow Ted Lasso, where we were in that pub and that little corner, that's featured all
that's
the
Lasso
time.
World. Yeah. I don't follow him anymore. First two series, absolutely brilliant. Third series. What?
Jump the shark.
Oh, God. Straight over. Big splash. Shark goes, what the hell was that? Was that Ted Lasso? Because absolutely terrible. No disrespect to Hannah Waddingham. Is that her name?
Yes.
But the whole thing became about her and became incredibly sentimental. No, I'm not having that. Script writers, don't be lazy. Write more than 2 series. You're listening to talkSPORT.
Alex Crook got a bit of news about Newcastle United. Alex, what you got?
Explosive statement has just been dropped by Alexander Isak. He says, I've kept quiet for a long time. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. Alexander Isak goes on to say, when promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interest of everyone, not just myself. Now, this is Newcastle reacting to that bombshell Instagram post from Alexander Isak, where he talks about broken promises and the loss of trust. Alex remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that he can leave Newcastle United this summer. Alex remains part of our family and will be welcomed back when he is ready.
I'm so bored with it. I hate the last 2 weeks of the transfer window because it's just this ridiculous game. The producer put the statement on text last night on the
yes.
I just said, get on with it, all of you. Just get on with it.
You know he's going to for Grumber in the Jungle ending.
Well, you know he's going to end up at Liverpool. You just know he is, and just Liverpool, just pay the money and get on with it. Otherwise, go away.
Alexander Isak has had his say. So have Newcastle Football Club, and now the former Crystal Palace owner Simon Jordan, who was alongside Jim White and the ex-Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy this morning. He had this to say about Isak's statement on Instagram last night.
I don't doubt that Newcastle have understood that Alexander Isak would like to leave Newcastle if a very big football club comes in. What I would imagine is not clear and has never been said and has never would be named as to who it was said by, because that's very, if you have the balls to turn around and say, I was told by, name them. Name the person specifically and explicitly who told you that irrespective of conditions, you can leave when it suits you. If you're an agent and a club official sits in front of you and he says, look, okay, I'll give you an implicit understanding that if something comes along, we'll agree to it. Put it in writing. Put it as an addendum to the contract. Put it in writing. Confirm this conversation that we've had. Put it in writing. Well, I want it as a gentleman's agreement. Well, the gentleman's agreement isn't going to be worth very much, is it? Because realistically speaking, I'd rather not add to the contract. I'd rather you just drop me a note, a line, understanding the conversation that we just had. This conversation will be kept between us and only ever brought out in the instance that you don't stick to your word. The reasons why that hasn't happened is because it didn't happen.
Simon Jordan getting stuck in there an hour ago or so.
They should all have a release clause, really. That's it,
Well, obviously saw with Nottingham Forest. That doesn't mean anything either, Listen, somebody who's got, I think, a foot in both camps. Of course, great friend of talkSPORT. I really enjoyed the summer. He and I were Hawksby and Jacobs. Former Newcastle legend striker and big Liverpool football fan. Mickey Quinn. Hi, Mickey.
Hi, Danny. Good to see you.
Absolutely. It's great to see you too, Mickey. Honest to God.
We've got to, before we get right into it, I don't know if you heard Jim's show this morning, Quinny. A Newcastle fan ran up and talking about Isak. And he did the famous one that the bloke did about you. He went, so many goals, he said.
Actually, Mickey, why don't we listen to it? Here we go.
Oh, yes.
Couldn't you look at it? Let's finish with Ian, who's a Newcastle fan. Finish it for me, Ian. Where are you at with it?
Is that Jim Light?
It is. You're live on talkSPORT, Ian. Good morning.
Fantastic. All I wanted to say, he scored so many goals.
Okay. I think we had a bit of pantomime to finish with, and there's nothing wrong in that. We shall see what happens in the course of the next few hours. You never know.
I mean, it went straight over Jim's handsome head there, didn't it? But that was
funny,
Mickey, that's legendary still. But more seriously, what do you want to happen in this Alexander Isak situation? Because he's so central to Newcastle's inverted commas project that I don't know how they could replace him. So are they right to try and hang on to him?
They've got every right to hang on to him, Danny. He's a Newcastle United player. He's signed, I think it was a 6-year contract. I just feel overall feeling is sadness for the Toon fans, for Newcastle United, because I go to 6 or 7 home games a year. And, they had a fantastic season last year, won the first domestic trophy for God knows how long, Champions League football this season. So I was coming into this season loving the club, thinking, wow, it's going to be exciting, they can add to all them top players they have because they're going to stay because they've had such a good season last year. They can hang on to them. And it was going to be an exciting season. And then since then, I mean, all hell's broke loose with Isak. saying he's wanting to go or he's had his head turned by Liverpool. But hand on heart, I'm sad because I want the best Newcastle United team to turn up each week in the Premier League and the Champions League. I'm afraid it's not going to be with Alexander Isak, and that means they're not going to have their best team on show.
The problem, though, is, Quinny, if they do, you'd imagine Liverpool this deal will go through. And they're
I wouldn't be so sure, Andy.
Really?
I would not be so sure because they haven't put in another bid. They've gone cool. To me, they've gone cool on everything. And, you know, you look at Ekitike last week, 22, 2 years younger, and he looks a real exciting prospect. So I don't know. I mean, if they're going to go, they're going to have to make moves before the end of the window, or they sit tight. Don't get involved, Liverpool, because it is a mess, you know, with Isak and Newcastle United, and sign him next year. I don't know. But it's not doing anyone any good, is it, Andy? The fans are so frustrated. They've turned on Isak. The club can't play their leading goal scorer. And Liverpool are just sitting back. So I don't think it's their argument to get involved in unless they put another bid.
And the same with Gay, though, isn't it? With, you know, again, they're waiting and waiting. They're waiting till they know that Palace have got to sell him. I mean, you understand it. It's business. It's money. It's business. You know, and if you can get 4 or 5, 10 million off a player, then it's worth doing. But that's why the last 2 weeks are so painful.
That's his last season, I think, Andy, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Palace, before his contract runs out. So it's slightly different where, you know, Palace don't want nothing for him come next year. So they'll have to sell. Liverpool need a centre-half as well, I think, you know, the way they've started the season. And I had a good look at them pre-season, and Kanate looks way off last season's form. So, yeah, I can see that happening. But really, like I said, I'd rather Newcastle keep Isak and he plays. But, my goodness, it's going to take one hell of an apology to the fans, to the club, if there's going to be a turnaround in this. So I'm not so sure. I just don't want it to mess up Newcastle's season, gloss over. I went to see them against Atletico Madrid in a pre-season friendly, and you know what? I went up there with a little bit of dread with Isak not playing, but I came away. They were excellent first 45 minutes. So I wasn't worried about going to Villa. They were excellent again. But Alanga, who's a brilliant signing, put in so many crosses, but there was no one there. And that's what I'm worried about, them scoring goals. But the rest of their play, I was really impressed with.
Mickey, what do you make of the number of modern players who appear to go on strike when they don't get the move they want? Or as we've seen with Alexander Isak and today with Fofana, the Chelsea player, they remove all reference to their employers from their Instagram. I mean, I sit around and laugh. They're like children.
Babies. Listen, even when I played, we're like babies, to be fair. Everything's done for you, Danny, isn't it? And then you think the whole world's against you. The one thing I will say on behalf of the players, it is a very short career, so you need to sort things out. But there's a certain way you act. You got to act with a bit of class, and you got to act, you know, in a way where it doesn't offend the fans that you've been playing for, that the club that you're paying your wages for as well. You've got to be a little bit diplomatic. Isak should have just kept quiet, kept his head down, and then see what happens. Because I think that statement has made it 10 times worse and inflamed the whole situation again, because it makes him look very, very selfish.
We know. Sorry, please. We know the intensity with which Newcastle supporters, like others, of course, follow their team. And yet there's something inside of me that thinks that if Alexander Isak went out in the middle of the pitch, kissed the badge, they'd forgive him in a heartbut. Is that
as soon as he scores a goal, they'd be fine about it, won't they? That's what we're all the same, totally fickle.
It's so cynical, Andy. And listen, yes, of course. I think this time, Danny and Andy, I think it's going to take a massive apology first. Don't forget, he said something, and the drift of I got was that said something that offended his teammates. They won't speak to him. Then Eddie's isolated him. So, you know, he's going to take a massive apology to the club, to the players, and to the fans as well. I did get isolated once, by the way, at Newcastle by Special K.
Oh, really? Why, Mickey? Why?
Well, I said something in the press, basically. He thought I said he didn't have a clue what was going on because we nearly got relegated. All I said was Kevin being out the game for a while, you know. He took it the wrong way, isolated me. We used to train Durham University. So the first team's pitch was like a bowling green. And all them lads that were isolated or out the team or fell out with Kevin Keegan used to train on a cabbage patch about a quarter of a mile away with cow dung on it.
Oh, nice.
That's being isolated, lads.
Yes. Well, you made a great recovery, Mickey, and you're looking absolutely great, which fills my old heart with joy. Good to see you, and thank you so much indeed.
Cheers, Andy.
I tell you what will happen. This transfer will not be going through the next few days because, of course, on Monday, Newcastle play Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
That game is live and exclusive here on talkSPORT. You wouldn't want to miss that. And I dare say, whatever else happens, he will not be allowed to play for Liverpool in that game. As I say, Monday night, Newcastle against Liverpool, live here on talkSPORT. And our thanks to Mickey Quinn.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were absolutely sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money, but instead of entering league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. Think of it like the Harlem Globetrotters of football, and it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil, and the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest clubs in Brazil.
Yeah, welcome back to Hawksby and Jacobs. Remember, you're listening to myself, Danny Kelly, and him, Andy Jacobs, on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. This summer, shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksmoor lawnmower range in-store, on app and online. Next stop, Toolstation. They need to change that to a Hawksby lawnmower, don't they?
We do.
That'd be really good, wouldn't it? I was telling Charlie yesterday about the fact that I've got one of those ride-on lawnmowers. I've got quite a bit of grass to cut out the back of the house and all that. But when I'm down by the road and I'm on a great big man on what is, let's be fair, a mini tractor. And as I said yesterday, when the local farmers go by with these gigantic machines, they've got the 4 wheels on each one about 8 feet high.
The Chris Eubank.
Dragging a combine harvester. I nod at them as though we're doing the same thing. All right, brother. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure they're that impressed. Now, listen, you'll all remember Russ Cook, who was the hardest geezer, was the brilliant name that he got when he ran the length of Africa. Well, he's got a new running challenge now, and I'm delighted to say that Russ joins us here on talkSPORT. Hello, Russ.
Afternoon, chaps. How are we doing?
Really good. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Good stuff. No worries.
Can I say what an amazing beard that is? Yeah, for those of you who can't see Russell at the moment, let me say he makes the members of ZZ Top look like they look like toddlers. It's a fantastic beard. Russell, tell us about this is a very different challenge than the one that you became famous for. Tell us what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and why.
It's already been done, my friend. I just got back yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. We ran across Iceland, me and some 247 athletes. They're hybrid guys. They're the absolute warriors. But there were 7 of us all together, and we ran relay style across Iceland, about 615k over 48 hours. We was battling through it all. We didn't sleep, barely slept for about 60 hours it was in the end. So it was quite a slog, but obviously much shorter than some of my other ones, but super intense.
Don't blame you.
Really good time with the boys and the girls out there.
And different weather conditions, presumably, because the other one was in Africa, so it's got to be.
Yeah, a little bit colder than Africa, fortunately. But yeah, it was, it's a beautiful spot in the world. Obviously, you've got the volcanoes out there, you've got the ice-capped mountains and stuff. So, yeah, proper little adventure, that.
Yeah, forgive my my mistake there, because I saw it started on the 16th of August, and I thought, well, that's a long way to run in a couple of days, but you've obviously done that. Just to make that point again, I have been to Iceland, and I was lucky enough to be taken out into the sort of the wilds there. It's almost impossible, even though it's my job to describe things, it's almost impossible to say how. It's kind of the grandeur of the place is remarkable. It's because there's no people. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Big time, yeah. It's got that sort of movie set feeling to it, with all the volcanoes and like the black sand on the beaches and the misty clouds piling in. You kind of feel like you're at the start of some kind of horror movie, especially when the light dips up there. But it was a great setting, and the team really showed up, like 48 hours on the go, bang bang bang, smashing that tarmac all the way up. So yeah, it was a great little project.
When you do these things, you've got plenty of time to think, obviously, when you're running. Do you then start
regretting it?
No, yeah, obviously, but no, thinking ahead to the next challenge, because presumably you've already got that in mind.
A little bit, yeah. I call it type 2 fun. It's not so enjoyable in the moment, but very enjoyable to look back on, and often comes with some great stories attached. And we were all up there chatting after about 40 hours of no sleep. We get into all sorts of conversations. We talk God, we talk religion, we talk aliens. There is nothing off limits at that point. So yeah, we have good chats, and obviously we're the adventurous types. We're always thinking about what's next, what can we take on, how far can we push it. So there's plenty in the works, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the human beings, we're always greedy, aren't they? It's in the same way as, a footballer comes off, he scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final, and we're saying, what next for you then? But actually, let me ask you a wider question. Where do you find the motivation for this, Russ? Because obviously, the running keeps you fit and all the rest of it, and it's what you do. But it's such a difficult thing, each challenge. Where do you find the inner motivation for it?
For me, I mean, this is something that me and the guys were chatting about. Actually, it's just something that's kind of deeply ingrained in me, and I think the other guys would kind of agree. We constantly want to push for more, and it's that same thing that pushes us to do more is also the same thing that just won't let us relax once we've done it. And I think one of the difficult things is just trying to find that balance of, striving for the next thing, pushing the limits, seeing what we're capable of, also trying to find the space and time to be grateful for just the here and now, the present, and enjoying life as it goes by. So, those are some of the things we're balanced with. But for me, I think it's deeply ingrained in me. I just want to keep pushing. I might, after 48 hours of no sleep, might have a little nap. But then, as soon as I'm up again, I'm thinking, right, let's go again. What can we fire up now?
With the beard, do you start off clean shaven and then you let it go throughout the challenge, or is that your permanent look?
Nah, mate, I can't go clean shaven because I look like a 13-year-old little girl without it now. So
I see. Okay.
I've just got to keep this thing for life.
All joking aside, you're doing something, you're doing an endurance event. What does the lack of sleep do to you physically and mentally? If you, as you say, you've been 2 days there without Kip.
Yeah, do you know what? You go through the motions with it. There's waves. It comes in waves. So the first kind of dip will be like, oh, I'm feeling really tired. Like I would normally be going to sleep right now. And then once you kind of push through that, you kind of, when the sun comes up the next day, it feels like, all right, your brain sort of gets your head around it and you go, right, we're going again. And then there will be inevitable sort of crashes throughout the day, but it's just staying in the game in those moments where it's like, all right, I'm pretty cooked here. But if I can hold out, then the good times are coming again. I like a bit of forced positivity for me. So whether that's a bit of a sing or a dance, then that can really perk up the mood. And before you know it, you've stayed awake for another 12 hours. And then we just roll with the punches again until we basically just crash out from total delirium.
And during these delirious conversations that you had, what was the nuttiest next challenge that somebody came up with? Something that even you, Russ, said, are you mad?
What were we talking about? I mean, there is always stuff on the go. I was with some pretty elite athletes out there with like ambitions of world championships in high rocks, and another one with back-to-back ultra marathons for days on end at over 6,000 meters altitude. We've got some pretty spicy challenges between us. For me, when I'm with these guys, there is nothing that doesn't seem reachable. I'm like, world domination, like game. I think we can make that happen right now. That's the kind of level of delusion that we can kind of get to out there.
Well, world domination. I mean, it is at least aim high. That's the main thing about that. Listen, Russ, it's been a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Russ Cook, the hardest geezer there, celebrity ultra runner after his recent triumph across the top of Iceland.
You've got to know about staying up all night. You watch Monday Night Football and all that. You're a real night owl.
I am a real night owl, yes.
I know that.
I was born on the shortest day, the darkest day of the year, the 22nd, 23rd of December, in the middle of the night. My mum said I was always going to be a vampire.
That's really interesting.
I'm really born in the darkest time. And I do stay up. Have you ever been to Iceland? You're well travelled.
No. It's one of the
extraordinary.
Yeah, I'd like
extraordinary. I went there a long time ago now. I can tell you can actually carbon date it. That I went with the Happy Mondays when they were the biggest band in Britain. So you can. It was extraordinary. Reykjavik is an amazing city. First and foremost, the cathedral, which is white and made to look like a big snowdrift.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just beautiful. The other thing that struck me, apart from the beauty of one half of the population, the female half, was the price of beer. Back in those days, I'll tell you what it was. We were so leery, but music press and all that. We used to seek out the pub in London with the most expensive beer for a laugh. And I remember just prior to this, the Pillars of Hercules in Soho had suddenly broken the £2 a pint barrier. Now, thinking about that now. We used to go there to drink it for a laugh. A few days in Iceland soon cured us of that, where it was about £5 a pint. Drink is incredibly expensive. But to finish this off, the big Icelandic band at the time were the Sugar Cubes, who you'll remember, where Björk came out of. And they took us out onto the glacier in their monster truck.
Oh, wow.
They had a monster truck, and
Nice.
they took us out on the glacier, out to the Blue Lagoon. I mean, these are, I probably wrote a load of rubbish about it, but the memory of it is absolutely remarkable. As was, and I'll thank you if the person to listen to, the man who gave me, unsuspectingly, hallucinogenic mushrooms to take in Iceland.
In Iceland?
Yeah. And then he said to me, we give those to the reindeers, they walk around in circles for days. And I thought, hardened person. I thought, this is not doing me. I'm not feeling this at all. Except when I tried to walk back to the hotel, which was 6 miles away through a 1.5 foot of snow.
Not a great idea.
It was a great trip to Iceland, and I'm now drifting away with the memory of it. Now, thanks again to Russ, who was doing something rather more
Slightly
useful
more
than
healthy
me.
version.
Absolutely. throughout today we'll be bringing you the big races from York, and bringing them to you, of course, will be our commentary team of Rupert Bell and the man with the hardest job in broadcasting, replacing Lizzie Kelly. Good luck to Lizzie as she's off to have her baby, Louis Stewart. Rupert, well, hello and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and yes, and welcome to Louis, who I basically made sure that he understood what it's like to be on tour with me last night. Oh, yeah. So he had a baptism of fire, and just to share some. He used to work as an apprentice jockey for my brother, so he started his racing career with my brother, and now he's ended up starting his broadcasting career with the older brother. So I feel for Louis.
A lot of bells to deal with, guys.
Oh, Louis.
Not that was Malbec involved? It normally is.
Yeah, I was grounded, to say the least, last night, men.
Yeah. Right, and the other thing is, when he worked for my brother, his nickname was Frankel. Explain the reason.
Yeah, so my nickname was Frankel, and I said to one of the lads one morning, I said, why does the governor keep calling me Frankel? And he said, do you not realise that you're the highest earning horse in the yard? I said,
because as an apprentice, the trainer gets a part of the bonus. Okay, so and when Louis won the E-Ball back in 2014, my brother made a few quid out of Louis. So, but that's the rules of the game. The apprentice gets part of the trainer gets a sort of part of the money that the jockey earns.
But it's okay, because Rupert paid for my meal last night. He said, I thought I'd give you a bit back.
Oh, that's nice.
So
don't get used to
all
that.
Good.
So anyway,
no, it's not. No, it's done now. It's done.
It's a special event, the York meeting. I know I used to work in Scarborough years ago, and all the people would make a sort of pilgrimage there and call it the Ascot of the North. That's kind of what they call it. So it does have that sort of feel, doesn't it?
Oh, very definitely. And back in 2005, they actually moved Royal Ascot up here when they were redeveloping the Ascot racecourse. So it is very much the sort of social occasion at the end of the summer. It is a big meeting. We've got some amazing racing, and the crowds have flocked in again. And the race at 3:35 is as good as you're likely to see all summer. So from the spectators' point of view and the sort of interest around this meeting, it is still maintaining its hold, and I think we're in for a fabulous afternoon.
Rupert, I see they're loading the horses in for the 150, the Hong Kong Jockey Club Whirlpool Handicap, but while they're still doing that, can you briefly tell us the other three races we can look forward to on H&J today?
Well, the International at 3:35, really top-class race. We've got the Derby winner Lambourne in the Great Voltigeur, and then we also have a top two-year-old race at 2:25. So every race is a classy one. This is a sprint handicap, sort of experienced campaigners who dash down the Knavesmire, as it's known at the race course, and it's a really competitive contest. 13-2 the field. Any one of these 20 looks capable of winning it, although they say low-numbered draws horses are favoured here. So as an afternoon's racing, this is one of the best afternoons that we will have had all summer, I think, racing-wise. If you've got a Derby winner on hand, you've got two of the top two flat horses in the world racing against each other in the 3:35. What more could you want? So,
well, thank you for that. So why don't you two now stop reminiscing about last night's champagne and actually give us the 150 from York?
Okay, well, Louis, competitive. What is the draw they talk about? Low numbers could be favoured. Why, having ridden here, do you think low numbers are favoured here?
Yeah, very competitive day's racing here today, guys. This 5 furlongs is very fast. Any jockey will tell you it's one of the fastest 5 furlong tracks in the UK. Good to firm ground here today. This is going to be fast and furious. The jockeys like to be over the far side, guys, mainly because I think not that there's a slight kind of camber in the course, but it just tends to be the straightest way to the finish line. And the kind of key to these 5 furlong races is never give ground away. Even if you're a hold-up horse, it's never good to take back from the gates. You kind of have to ride your horse forward, then find your pitch after that. I do like to be on the far side here, so low numbers are going to help.
Well, Van der Man is one of the favourites here. 13-2 the field. Also, there's been plenty of money for the Kieran Schumacher trained ridden Trefor. Holly Doyle coming forward on Cuban Grey, one of the Irish Raiders here. And last to come forward is Tatterstools, who actually went down way before the rest. So they're set for the start of the Ebor meeting 2025 here. 5 furlong dash, looking to get an early break. Spring is sprung on the far side. Cuban Grey getting in a prominent position on this near side. Vintage Clarets trying to get into a strong position. Also Jordan Electrics like to set the pace and is also storming down this stand side. Azure Angel is right up there as well as they come down the centre, and another one, Tatterstool, is also leading them along. But just out in front, it is Monashleeve has now got the advantage. From on the inside is Tatterstool. Monashleeve with the Tatterstools. Coming under a bit of pressure is Bergerac trying to get up there. Also Brazen Bolt is right up there. On the far side of that, picking up quickly is running in behind. We can see Coppernight also picking up on this night. Monashleeve still has the advantage. The man is coming forward on this far side. The man may just have the advantage of Monashleeve. Coming up on the far side, this near side, Vintage Clarets, and Vintage Clarets just may have the advantage. On the far side, storming Trefour, and Kieran Schumacher has picked it up, and Trefour has got up there to win by a narrow margin from, it looks like, in second spot, the man, but Trefour getting a good run on that far side, once again proving that lowish numbers are favoured here. Vintage Clarets had a good chance on this near side, but run out of it in the end, with Trefour holding on from the man, and in third spot was Air Force One.
Yeah, what a race, guys. It was fast and furious from the off. The man actually got a bit further back than he'd have liked to from the gates. He's a horse that likes to go forward like he did at York last time, but Trefour, plenty of money for this horse before the race, and he was quite unlucky over 6 furlongs last time out, so dropped back to 5 furlongs, this fast and furious 5. He got up on the line, and the money was right.
Well, Trefour, Kieran Schumacher, who's had an interesting season, but he is more than capable of landing big races, and he proved it then. Remained calm when it was all getting a little bit sort of wild in the final stages, holding off the challenge of the man. A well-judged ride by Kieran Schumacher riding for Trefour, and as I say, one of the favourites. It's still officially a photo, but I'm expecting number 7 to be called the winner.
Rupert, first of all, congratulations. That was fantastic commentary, because I was watching it on a screen.
I couldn't tell anybody.
There were 24 identically dark brown horses, all going at a tremendous lick, and you called that. That was amazing. Well done.
I say, I've got Louis learnt his corn there, because he's spotting away like a mad thing. So it's teamwork in those cases, because he can see the look of horror as which horse as I was trying to pick out at some stage. But we got there in the end, and I can confirm Trefour has won it from the man, and Air Force One running a big race in third.
It's a great skill calling a horse race. Thank you very much for that. Next one we're going to hear is in half an hour's time, the 2:25, the Tattersalls ACOM Stakes. It's Group 3. What should we be looking out for in that one?
Oh, this is going to be a great race on the card. It's a really competitive 2-year-old field, and it's a race, the ACOM, that a lot of trainers like to target their good 2-year-olds at. Distant Storm is your favourite for Charlie Appy and William Buick, and this horse actually has had 1 run and 1 win, and believe it or not, 9 runners that day at Newmarket. 7 horses behind this have gone out and won after, so the form stacks up tremendously well for Distant Storm to win. Aidan O'Brien as a second favourite in Italy. It's probably going to be quite a match race in the ACOM.
Listen, thank you both very much indeed for that. We'll be back to them in about half an hour's time for the ACOM at the 2:25. Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Ebor Festival at York. This week only you can join for just £12 a month. Head to racingtv.com/Ebor now for all the details. Yeah, loads to come in the second hour of 3 of today's edition of Kelly and Jacobs, including another race from York where we talked about Spanish football, and Max George from The Wanted will join us to talk about a serious subject, the music we use to deal with grief and funerals and things like that. Before that, though, we should get the latest sports headlines for you now from Ben Fletcher.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon. Who's to blame for the Isak transfer saga becoming increasingly ugly?
Up.
Well, that should have been talkSPORT's Danny Murphy pondering upon who might have promised Isak he could leave, as is claimed by the striker. Newcastle say terms of a sale haven't been met, so come the 1st of September, where will Isak be? Murphy's gut instinct says St James's Park.
Mainly because they haven't got a replacement. Even if Liverpool go up a bit, I don't see how Newcastle can let him go when they've got nobody to play centre forward.
You've got to love the fixture computer. Up next for Newcastle, Liverpool at home on Monday night, live here on talkSPORT. Next, Villa winger Leon Bailey has joined Roma on loan till the end of the season. The deal's worth £19 million. Bailey becomes the second player to leave Villa Park after Jacob Ramsey's move to Newcastle. Elsewhere, Palace are close to signing El Kanous from Leicester. A verbal agreement said to be in place. Once that deal's done, we should get some movement on Eze to Tottenham. Next is Wesley Fofana doing a Wissa. He's removed all references to Chelsea from his social media channels. The Blues defender did the same thing when he wanted to leave Leicester. Russell Martin still believes Rangers can make the Champions League group stages, but the question is, do they want to? Club legend Ali McCoist isn't convinced qualification would suit Rangers right now.
Nobody wants to see the team get a going over, and in that performance, that is exactly what Rangers would get in the Champions League against a top-level opposition.
Rangers travel to Bruges next week, trailing 3-1, and rugby union's returning to Wembley for the first time in a decade. South Africa will play Japan on November the 1st. At the same time, England host Australia at Twickenham. We've got an exclusive interview with Wales's Lewis Rees-Zammit up on talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Local authorities across England say they're considering launching their own legal action to stop asylum seekers being housed in hotels. And it's not looking good if you're on a variable mortgage. Inflation's gone up again. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, wherever and whenever suits you with our mobile tyre fitting service. Now that will have you driving away happy every time. Conditions apply.
Mostly dry this afternoon, feeling cooler along the North Sea coast.
More bass than Bootsy Collins. You versus me, that's like Ali versus Foreman. Guards act, stand back and watch. Devil's timeout, can't be time with no swatch. Watch who I am, the Black Abraham. Zungo, zungo, zang, yellow.
Yeah, welcome back everybody to the second hour of 3 of today's edition of Kelly and Jacobs. Lots to get through, as I say, in this hour. Dan Waters will join us to bring us all the latest from Spain after Trent Alexander-Arnold made his La Liga debut last night, and Barcelona once again getting themselves into all kinds of issues with regards to money, and it could really affect the Women's Champions League over the next few months. We'll also be joined by Max George. You'll remember him as the singer from The Wanted. He joins us to discuss the power of music in grief and remembrance as the nation's most popular funeral songs have been revealed. Paddy's Challenge will also be here with Ben Fletcher in a complete radio handbrake turn from one feature to another. But the music you heard there was because I asked Andy if he would somehow formalise all the things that he moans about before we come on air into one feature.
I'm very happy now.
Called The Grumble in the Jungle. I asked him today what he's going to do, and he said, I've got nothing. I'm delighted. Everything's great in my
really
world.
Happy.
Well, this is good because it's allowed me then to change The Grumble in the Jungle to the Mumble in the Jungle. The Mumble in the Jungle. Now, look, this is not an original thought, but, and, you know, forgive me if you've heard this argument before, but this is my Mumble in the Jungle. I was watching some of my teenage nieces and nephews the other day watching films on their phones, and that's fine. They had little earpieces in, And then I looked over their shoulder and they were watching, I don't know what it was, something magical, something fantastical. And they had the subtitles on in English. They're watching an English film with the subtitles on. And I eventually asked them, and they said, well, you can't really hear all the dialogue, can you? And it occurred to me, of course, I've been doing exactly, I don't put on the subtitles. I'll tell you what I do. I don't watch if I can't understand. Now, look, my hearing may not be what it once was. Too many My Bloody Valentine concerts for that. But honestly, for a variety of reasons, what do you mean? Are you mad?
Sorry.
My Bloody Valentine's Loveless is one of the great records of all time.
Never heard of them.
All right, I'll tell you why my ears got shot by them. How loud they were. I went to see them at the start of the Loveless tour back in the day at the Cambridge Corn Exchange, and I had a little box because I was with their PR, and a box overlooking the stage, and I had 3/4 of a pint perched on the parapet of the box, which was fully the width of the pint, so it wasn't precarious at all. They came on, the first note sent the pint flying into the crowd and into
not a good thing,
my
is it?
chest and it was amazing. I couldn't hear for a week afterwards, but it was absolutely amazing. And anyone who knows Loveless, that bit where she plays on the flute, it was thunderous. It was fantastic. The point I'm making is that my hearing is still pretty good, I think it's fair to say. And more and more actors, and I'm a great fan of many of these actors, have decided that they're going to just mumble.
I know.
And not enunciate. Now, we know some of this, Andy, is to do with the change in the way acting is trained. They used to come through the theatre where one enunciates to the assembled
And TV
crowd.
and film acting is smaller. It's meant to be
And they're much different, yeah. And I'm told there's some technical things going on here that when you're mixing down from 32 tracks or 64 tracks, whatever they're doing now, it's much more difficult to get the balance right between the dialogue. And we all know what happens. I can't hear somebody's mumbling away. I can't hear it. So I turn it up to about 65. Now, I've got a big television with big speakers, and then the bit of music comes in when somebody starts crying or running away from the police. And you're literally, the dog, bless her, dives underneath the sofa. Why are they doing it? Why can't they do it a little? Help us a little bit. Now, the king of this is Matthew McConaughey, isn't he? Now,
I'll match somebody else who I think.
Okay, well, I'll just. I'm taking Madam McConaughey. Sorry, Matthew, what was that? Matthew is trying to tell you that the Earth is about to be blown to pieces by an asteroid. Matthew, what is he trying to say?
Do the football results.
Coming out of the sky. Coming out of where? The sky? And so on. I'll tell you what, I turned Interstellar off. Now, I've been told off by Sean, our producer, on the grounds that Interstellar's a great film. And after 20 minutes of trying, coming out of the sky. Coming out of the sky.
It's quite annoying, isn't
it really is.
Why don't we do the whole show like that?
Oh, well, in a few months we will, Andy. Don't worry about that.
But Steve McFadden, who is brilliant in EastEnders, isn't
Yes, he is, of course.
But he's exactly the same. Oh, no, darling, all right, darling. And that's all, when he's on, that's all I can hear is that noise.
Is it supposed to indicate some kind of intensity? Emotional intensity?
It is. I once saw him in Edinburgh, though. He was fantastic, actually, because he's one of the most recognisable people in Britain.
Yeah.
And he had like a cap on, and his collar turned up, and he's walking through Edinburgh. You think, come on, mate, we all know it's you. There's no point. You might as well just have a T-shirt with your face on it.
There are one or two. Cumberbatch doesn't do it. Cumberbatch, of course, he's in every third film now, along with Olivia Colman. And he doesn't do it. He's decided he's going to say his lines properly.
Well, hopefully it's good. You had a thing about Rylance, though, as well.
Oh, Mark Rylance. Well, look, that was a different thing. I mean, of course, great actor, up for all the awards all the time. But Mark's trick is that, let's say he's in a scene where there are 3 other actors and he has 2 of the 12 lines. He makes sure those 2 lines take up a half of the allotted time. Mark speaks very, very slowly. It doesn't mumble, but it's so slow that watch it in Dunkirk in particular. All he's got to say is, release that rope. We'll be off. Release that
ridiculous
rope. And all the other actors, he is the number 1 actor for other actors because, of course, look at the screen time this fella's getting. Look at what he's making out of this. Ever done any actual acting, Andy?
I am Britain's worst actor. I've done a bit of acting. I've done a bit of Ammy Drammy Love.
Okay, tell me about that.
I was in...
you didn't mumble, first and foremost.
No, I didn't mumble.
No.
I was in Once a Catholic, the Mary O'Malley thing. I played the teacher. I can't remember his name, Mr. something Italian name. And I did a sort of method during the audition. I think he had a limp or something. and I came in limping, and so the director already thought that I was suitable.
Method acting,
yeah. And I was also in. I played. This is bad actually, but given that it was the time that it was, I mean, I was about 15 or 16. I played a Nubian slave in a school production, or sort of old boys production, and I had to wear, black makeup. I'll be honest.
Fine.
Terrible.
The school activity play where
I was so nervous. What I was just like these white streaks under my arms. I was playing for Newcastle. It was tremendous.
Now, for those of you with a strong disposition, I'll tell you, I did not mumble in my one of two films I appear in. In one, of course, I don't appear, it's just my voice, and that's The Football Factory, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But the other one is a rarely seen film. It disappeared without trace, so it's very, very good, because it came out the same week as Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, and it's called Divorcing Jack, and it's set in the north of Ireland, and it's a kind of comedy adventure film. My then girlfriend was working on the film, and I used to go back and forth to Belfast at the weekends to see her. And one day she sat down and said to me, "We got this scene, Danny, and it requires two men to be very, very scantily clad, sat on space hoppers, making coochie coo noises to each other." We say no more strongly than that. David Hewlett, who was in the film, was supposed to run through and jump out the window. And she said, "Look, we can't get any of the local actors to do it. It isn't a big enough part. There is 60 quid because you actually got to say something to the other guy." So I said, I thought to myself, when I'm an old man, perched outside on my veranda in Essex, I thought in those days, but it turns out to be in Ireland, with something glossy and red on my chest, will I think my life been better or worse for doing this? So I agreed to do it. And we were given a pair of scanty underpants, and the two of us sat opposite each other, and we were doing, as an homage to the Tarantino film, we're doing "I Love You, Honey Bunny," and bouncing up and down these space hoppers. And David ran in, and he still wasn't shocked enough, and so he went out again. We did about 4 or 5 takes. Andy, I have to tell you, I solved this problem by taking off the underpants. So the next time Julius ran in, I was sat there naked as the day I was born on the space hopper, saying, "I love you, honey bunny." Now he reacted, I can absolutely assure you. So if you find it in your local garage, if it's £1.99, the DVD of Divorcing Jack, A, it's a very good film, and B, if you want, you can see a momentary glimpse of a much younger me bouncing up and down the space hopper as nature intended me. And believe me, and when I said my lines, "I love you, honey bunny, I love you, honey bunny," I did not mumble. That's
good.
Today's edition of the Mumble in the Jungle. More mumbling and grumbling from Andy on Friday. I forgot the way
Space Hopper Man, there you are.
Yeah, there's.
You're in the credits.
I forgot that that the way the modern world is. Andy has now got Divorcing Jack on his phone, somewhere on the dark web, and yes, I'm credited as Space Hopper Man.
Marvelous.
Yeah, but you haven't yet found the.
No,
yeah.
I'll have a look tonight.
Yes. Oh yeah. The winter nights will just fly by, Andy. Let's be honest. We've got another race for you coming up in about 10 minutes' time. It's the Tattersalls Acom Stakes, Group 3. You've already heard from Louis Stewart how good a race it's going to be. Before that, let's turn our attention to Spanish football. We're joined now by Spanish football expert Dan Waters. Hi, Dan.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Really good. Thank you for joining us. Two big stories, I think. First of all, the latest twist of the ever kind of pretzel-like activities of Barcelona Football Club. We'll come on to that. But last evening saw, of course, Real Madrid started after everybody else because they were complaining that they needed extra time following their adventures in the World Club Championship. And of course, the Spanish FA gave in to them, or La Liga. But they beat Osasuna 1-0. But the game, I think, notable for the La Liga debut of Trent Alexander-Arnold. How did he get on?
Yeah, he played okay. I mean, there's been some chat about there's been some chat in England about his stats weren't that great. But if you actually watched the game, he had a fine game. I mean, if you actually look, it's interesting. We often think about Spanish football that there's so much press attention with the TV, with the two papers focused on Real Madrid, AS and Marca. But actually, last night I read and listened to so much after the game, and Trent Alexander-Arnold's name didn't really come up once. There was so many other sort of converging narratives. We had Kylian Mbappe back trying to impress. Lots of sort of Spanish players playing. Dani Carvajal came back and came on for Trent in the 68th minute. There were so many other things coming on, but he played quite well. I think it was a difficult game because Osasuna were playing with quite a low block. And actually, the side which they had more luck. I mean, he was playing some quite nice balls into Kylian Mbappe and some quite nice balls into sort of, Gonzalo Garcia and so on and so forth. Not Gonzalo Garcia, but I think Vinicius. But on the other side, with Huijsen and Carreras building up, actually they had more luck. So yeah, I don't think it wasn't the most stellar of debuts, but I think that it's quite clear that he's going to be quite crucial for Xabi Alonso's way of playing. I mean, last night was the 4-3-3 setup, but they played a lot of 3-4-3 in the Club World Cup. But I thought what was actually most interesting, that was most notable, was that for all of the sort of coverage of the game, all the questions put to Xabi Alonso after the game, Trent Alexander-Arnold's name was largely absent.
That's good. What about Rodrigo? There's been so much stuff linking him with the Premier League, and did he appear, or is he sort of out of favour?
He's out of favour. Yeah, it's he hasn't made any. This isn't an Isak situation. He has never made any intention, and is still sort of not saying that he wants to leave the club. I think that Xabi Alonso thinks that perhaps people like Brahim Diaz and Mastantuono and Gonzalo Garcia are more people that he wants to include in his front line, along with Vinicius and Mbappe. So I think that it's tough for him. I think it's quite a difficult situation for him. He obviously had that falling out with Carlo Ancelotti last season. And, I think that's I think maybe the club has decided they want to move on from him. I guess the issue really is with Rodrigo. I mean, he was on the bench and didn't come on once. The question is who's going to be able to pay? Because usually when Real Madrid are trying to sell players, they can offer a king's ransom. Manchester United buying people like Varane and Casemiro massively paying over the odds. But there aren't really clubs that I can see right now that are really keen for that. And I think they sort of had quite a high valuation of him. But I can see as the transfer window, as that clock starts to tick, I just wonder whether if they lower the price, maybe they try and get a deal to Saudi. The problem is, I think that the way in which the economics of modern football work means that the only teams that can really afford to buy from clubs like Real Madrid are clubs in the Premier League. And right now, the only one that really seemed like it was going to be a goer was Arsenal. And that now doesn't really seem to be much movement or much happening on that. But whether if the price comes down, someone gets interested, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones where there's a bit of an impasse because he doesn't really want to leave, but Xabi Alonso doesn't really want to pick him.
Well, he's in a difficult spot, isn't he, Rodrigo? Of course, brilliant last season. But he he's not wanted now, but also it's World Cup year. He needs to be playing.
That's true.
But of course, the new Brazil manager is the one he fell out with at Real Madrid. Though, of course, if you have a tool like Rodrigo at your disposal, you're unlikely to leave him out of the World Cup squad.
Which uses the word tool.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Correct
indeed.
use of the word.
Yes, Dan. Barcelona's finances are of almost a perpetual interest and B, bewilderment to me. Reports now that the way that the latest wave of nonsense around the men's team, it means that they're going to have to start definancing the women's team, who of course have been the world power in recent times.
Yeah, it's a really difficult, a really bad situation for Barcelona. We all know. I mean, it's why we all get into football journalism, isn't it? Because
yeah,
we want to sort of
do spreadsheets.
Go over the analysis of the financial situations of sort of once loved clubs. Sort of, Barcelona once been so good with their finances, with sponsorships like UNICEF and stuff. Look, the fact they even got Rashford and Joan Garcia registered was, that was looking touch and go at one point. They had to get revenue in from the Congo, or from a sponsorship deal with the Congo. There's all sorts of, we talk about the levers they've been pulling. But the fact is, I mean, they're in a difficult financial situation. I think one of the interesting things about Spanish football, especially with Barcelona and Real Madrid, is because they have this presidential model where people are elected in and out. You end up in a situation whereby the presidents have to sort of make populist moves. Joan Laporta has come in and had to constantly make big signings to try and compete with Real Madrid. And it was like, right, we're going to go and get Nico Williams. If we don't get Nico Williams, we're going to get another star player. We're going to get Marcus Rashford. We're going to get a great goalkeeper. And they're not sort of being run. They're being run with populist decisions in mind to keep the fans happy, as opposed to the financial security of the club. And, look, when I was over in Barcelona, I used to live out there for considerable period of time, and they're really proud of their women's team. It gets massive attendances. I mean, rightly so. They're one of the best teams in the world. I mean, fair play to Arsenal for beating them, but I mean, they're fantastic side and play some brilliant football to watch. But they're so well supported and so well loved. And I found this news and this sort of the fact they were going to have to sort of make that move quite shocking. But also, I guess, in the wider football context, we look at the PSR, things going on in England, there are quite a lot of sort of dark arts and chicanery going on to try and sort of get through the
we have seen women's football teams being used as collateral to get round financial regulations. It's scandalous. And I can see the same thing happen to Barca as well. Dan, thank you very, very much indeed. Dan Waters there with all the latest from Spain, which means it's time for us to get back to York for the next big race, which is the Tattersalls ACOM Stakes. It's a Group 3. And commentating for us, of course, you'll hear Louis Stewart. And first, Rupert Bell.
Yep, welcome back to the Knavesmire under cloudy skies here, but dry and pretty decent temperatures. This is a hot little 2-year-old race. Distant Storm is the favourite. Louis Stewart alongside me. What an imposing, beautiful-looking 2-year-old Distant Storm is the even money favourite.
Yeah, just watching them all go down, guys. They all looked to go down with a great demeanour, and it's one thing you need to look out for with these 2-year-old races, especially these colts. How they take the prelims and down at the start really shows how, not necessarily how they're going to run their race, but you want to see a very relaxed horse. They're also inexperienced still, and they're coming here. There's a big crowd at York, so they'll have a lot to take in.
No, Distant Storm cost 1.9 million euros at a breeze up sales, just 1.9 million, but that's nothing. But you've got Aidan O'Brien, Italy, tarnished his reputation when losing, finishing runner-up last time out.
Yeah, he was second last time out to one of, again, Charlie Appleby's horses. He was kind of affected by the way the race was run that day. He was drawn on the further side of the field and didn't really have much to race against. So I would expect an improved effort from Italy. Distant Storm is probably the likely one to take this race, but if you're going to look at a horse at a slightly bigger price, Goodwood Galaxy finished 4th last time out at Goodwood in a very good race, a Group 2 that day, and he didn't get beaten too far at all. So I would expect him to run better on a sharper track.
Well, you and me, I also expect a big run out of Goodwood Galaxy, but it's a big price, around about 20 to 1. But there's just the 7. Oceans 4 is a non-runner in this, so they're into the stalls then for this Acomb Stakes, over 7 furlongs, and they're off, and it's a pretty level break. Getting smartly away is Gawain on the outside. Distant Storm is a little bit free running early on and isn't really settling, Louis.
No, he's not settling too well. Distant Storm, head in the air. William Buick's trying his best to get some cover, but no cover yet.
Right, well, the leader is May Angel with Gawain, then Distant Storm, who's not still settled as we've gone through the first furlong and a half. Then Goodwood Galaxy's on the outside of that one. There was a line of 3 at the back, which is Sovereign Ocean, Rockfort Bridge and Italy. But now finally Distant Storm does seem to have settled, having now made the track proper, and leading them now is Oisin Murphy on May Angel, a couple of lengths up on Gawain. Distant Storm now into his stride, then going away Goodwood Galaxy. Italy is the last of the 7 runners. Ryan Moore looking for his moment to challenge as they continue on the straight with about 3 furlongs to go. Still out in front May Angel. Distant Storm now challenging on the outside on the far rail, has got a clean way through. So Distant Storm, Gawain's running a big race. Italy's got a length and a half to pick up. Gawain, a line of 3, May Angel, Distant Storm, and they're getting squeezed for room here, but Gawain is the one who's gone on. Distant Storm flattening out, but the danger now is Italy on the outside. Italy is flying. Gawain is a length up. Is the line going to come in time? Yes, it is, because Gawain is going to hold on and win by a length and a half from Italy. Then Distant Storm disappointing, back in 3rd.
Yeah, Gawain takes the race here, guys. It was a great performance. Distant Storm didn't settle throughout the race at all. May Angel, Oisin Murphy just taking this new job for Mr. Iman Al Sagar, and he will be gutted. Gawain is one of Andrew Balding's horses who Oisin has ridden for many years, taking this new job and missed out on the Acomb.
Well, this horse was always in a good position, but Distant Storm was at just greenness, because for the first furlong and a half, Distant Storm didn't want to be anywhere near his course.
Yeah, well, the race wasn't set up for closers here today. May Angel and Oisin Murphy dictated it from the front at very sedate early fractions. Gawain was in the perfect position. Andrew Balding's horse is well known for wearing sheepskin nosebands, settled lovely into the race, and PJ McDonald took the race up with a furlong to run, and it was all plain sailing after that.
What about Italy? Disappointing. Never really got in a blow.
He had a lot of ground to make up off a slow pace, which is not ideal. He'll again improve from this, but I think he's a horse that will improve from stepping up to a mile.
Well, it's Gawain then as 1 for PJ McDonald and Andrew Balding, coming home at 11-2. Disappointing favourite Distant Storm. Never really seemed to be travelling well. A bit of a bubble burst there as Gawain takes our second race. Next one is what they call a St Leger trial, but it features this year's Derby hero Lambourne.
Listen, thank you both indeed for that. And again, beautifully called, although helped there by Gawain being the grey horse. That really helps when the winner, when the one's right at the front, the winner is the grey horse. Thanks to both Louis and Rupert there. As you heard there from Rupert, we're back for the Voltigeur, which is the second biggest race of the day, and we'll be bringing you at 3:35 the Juddmonte International Stakes, where there's £1.5 million in prize money, and the first horse past the post gets £753,250,000. Racing TV is the only channel currently showing every live race from the Ebor Festival at York. This week only you can join for just £12 a month. Head to racingtv.com/Ebor right now for all the details.
let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. Something like this?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision. It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top level of football refereeing? You can apply to become a referee through your local county FA from as soon as your 14th birthday. After spending several hours either in the classroom or on the pitch, they'll grant you Level 7 status, which allows you to officiate amateur games. Then you'll work your way through the ranks of amateur football, not reaching the National League until Level 2. It's a long process, bearing in mind every level from 7 upwards takes an average of a year. Also, there's no specific number of games you have to ref or hours you have to log before moving on up. You simply just have to be good enough. Once you're Level 2 and have enough experience at a National League level, you can apply to the EFL to become a Level 1 referee. Then it's on you to get enough experience to climb through the ranks and eventually become a Premier League referee. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough to officiate games in the top flight. So if you want to make it to the top, there's less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing it, and it'll take you a decade to get there.
If you know, how do you get it from an all-time low? I'm in pieces, it seems like pieces. The only thing I never know, how do you get it from an
Space Hopper.
Andy is still looking for me in that film where I've got no clothes on, the Space Hopper. I'm trying not to dance like Donald Trump listening to The Wanted there. We'll be talking to The Wanted's lead singer Max George in just a few seconds' time. Just because I've got some breaking news for you from the world of football. This may be very important to some of the things we've been talking about this morning. talkSPORT understands that Newcastle have now bid a total of 40 million for Johan Visser, the Brentford forward. 35 million up front with 5 million in add-ons. Andy, you've watched Visser play closely for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
A bargain for Newcastle?
Well, bargain, good value. I'd say that's the right value for him. He's a £40 million player. He had a brilliant season last year. He's a classic example of what Thomas Frank does. Because when he first came in, and Brentford, you sort of looked at him, especially when Ivan Toney was there, and he didn't get much of a look at. You thought, I don't see what we're seeing. This play looks a bit lightweight, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, it turns out to be absolutely brilliant. So I'm sure that'll be a good deal for Newcastle. Not great for Brentford.
They've really got to, I mean, they've got to try and re-up half their squad in the next 10 days, haven't they? The next 12 days.
They need to bring somebody in, no question. Yeah.
Okay, the music you were listening to there was, of course, The Wanted. Their singer, Max George, is going to talk to us now about the way music is reshaping the way that we mourn and celebrate when people pass away. Good afternoon, Max.
Afternoon, lads. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure. Thank you very, very much indeed. This is off the back of a poll which shows that, you could have guessed some of these, but not all. Let's just say the top 10 songs that get played at funerals. The top 5 are Time to Say Goodbye by Andrea Bocelli and Sarah Brightman, My Way by Frank Sinatra, which I think most people would have guessed, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Eva Cassidy's version, You'll Never Walk Alone for Liverpool fans, and The Best, Simply the Best by Tina Turner. Max, what did you make of the list, and did any of it surprise you, the way people are choosing to celebrate or mourn the passing of loved ones?
Well, I think the one thing that sticks out for me most is that there's not as many hymns in there anymore. I think that
the only one is "Abide with Me," which of course is a beautiful, beautiful tune and a beautiful lyric, but surprising that
If
there
I
are
was at
more.
a funeral and they started playing, I think it was the cup final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are celebrating or trying to with music anyway. Funerals are becoming more of a celebration of life rather than mourning as such. What really interested me with the Co-op Funeral Care here is that it's not just the official chart. When you look at there's different charts like the most unique, sports songs, movies, you just see that people have good sense of humour, I think.
Give us an example if you can.
Highway to Hell, I think, is a good one. There's Ding Dong the Witch is Dead. I think I know why that went up in the charts not too long ago. 21 Seconds to Go, So Solid Crew.
Yeah.
What else? Gangnam Style. I thought that was a bit out there. The Jaws movie soundtrack.
I mean, these are clearly very personal tributes to people, or just people with a wacky sense of humour. I mean, it's also, Max, it's also a kind of movable feast. People are saying that since the announcement of the Oasis reunion, and I was on a flight on Sunday, just packed with Brits coming back from watching them in Dublin, things like Don't Look Back in Anger suddenly shot up the chart. So there's a kind of moving chart all the time with this.
Yeah, there is. Like you say, it's with You'll Never Walk Alone as well. Liverpool winning the league last season. I think it just became more poignant for people. And like you say, it moves with music. I think what's cool about this chart thing, what Co-op have done, is it kind of makes it a bit of a lighter conversation. Whereas speaking about funerals and about when you die and stuff like that, it's, it can be quite difficult and quite a dark conversation. Whereas actually, I think this sort of makes it a bit lighter and you can have a bit of fun with it at the same time.
Max, before we move on to the football, because I know you're an ex-footballer yourself, I hope you don't mind me saying you're looking really well. And I know you were very ill not so very long ago. Indeed, from a report I read, and maybe it's not true, but you can tell me, you actually made your will in a hospital bed. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I drafted something anyway. A lawyer, I read in the paper that some lawyer was saying, "Oh, that wouldn't have stood for anything."
Well,
obviously, I wasn't thinking about that at the time. But
but I wondered, did you think about what kind of things you'd like to have played in the? I'm sorry, I'm glad we never got to this event. That you might have passed away.
Yeah, like and it will happen at some point, I'm sure. But in December, I came a lot closer than I ever have before, and.
Did you think about music?
Do you know what? Not really at that time. It was actually a conversation I brought up with my dad about the will thing, which was obviously that was an awful conversation.
Yeah, of course, you shouldn't have that conversation with a parent, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. God knows what. I saw it with my parents, like what that did to them over the weeks I was in hospital. It was awful, but came through that. Music, I loved the soundtrack to Jurassic Park. It was one of my favourites. I think Blue Moon would maybe have to be in there as well. And I'd maybe have a song from The Wanted just to make it all about me.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, you are the centre of attention for those few minutes. Let's be honest, Max. Well, the Blue Moon is a good segue into the fact that you're a big Manchester City fan.
I am.
Well, of course, they're absolutely useless last year. Do you see any signs of recovery?
Oh, definitely.
I do actually. Yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive last week going into the Wolves game because I just didn't know about the balance. And obviously with Bernardo and Nico in midfield, Reinders is new, but I think Gary Neville said it. Maybe everyone was missing the obvious because we looked absolutely awesome last week without being at our best. I think there's a lot more to come. I think the business we've done in the summer has been brilliant. Expected us to maybe sign a right back, but Rico Lewis looked really good last week. I'm excited. I think Ryan Cherky is going to be a superstar, and he reminds me very much of one of my favourite ever City players when I was younger, Ali Benarbia.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a young Ali Benarbia. So, yeah, I can't wait to see him play more. I think anyone that finishes above City, I think will win the league. So, pretty much, yeah, City will come first or second.
Yeah.
Of course, admiring Ali Benarbia absolutely carbon dates you when you were a teenager. Everybody has a favourite player, and when you're 14, and it never quite leaves you, does it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, I was only kidding about how bad they were last year. That every team deserves a year off, and of course Rodri was the great missing chunk. Do you? The club, of course, has to be doing it on all fronts. But what do you think about their chances in the Champions League? Because Paris was so dominant last year, particularly knocking out one English club after another. Can we in England close the gap on them?
Yeah, I think so. I think City, like you said, we had an off season, but I think we'll be there. I think we've got as good a chance as anyone to win the Champions League. I'd put us way in with the favourites with PSG. I'd put Liverpool into that. I think they've strengthened and they're probably going to get even stronger, which is a pretty scary prospect, really. But, I think City will be in there. City, Liverpool, Real Madrid as usual, and PSG. I think they're my 4 favourites for that.
Notice no Chelsea or Tottenham there, Andy. I don't like this fella.
Rule out
Not yet.
He started out a good bloke, and now he's gone this route.
Sorry, lads.
Max, we've been talking about mourning, so forgive me for bringing this subject up. How long more can Pep Guardiola keep doing his miraculous stuff at Manchester City?
Do you know what? Last season, when there were times when he looked really stressed, I think, like when he nearly scratched his own forehead.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, like it was quite worrying actually. It looked like he was in a pretty dark place, but he seems he's got a new assistant in, and I think he seems really relaxed, and the players look happy. I would have said if we got another this season out of him, that would have been amazing. But you never know with Pep; you can never write him off. So.
No.
I'd love him to be here for another 5 years at least. Like that'd be amazing. But because you can't replace him, can you?
No, I think his domestic situation has improved. I think it was tricky, and I think that's probably coincided with things peaking.
And finally, Max, have you been to see Oasis?
I did. Yeah, I went to Heaton Park on my brother's birthday, and it was incredible, absolutely awesome.
Listen, thank you very much for joining us and giving us your thoughts, as you say, about the different kinds of funereal exercises people are going through now to commemorate and to celebrate. And that's the right word that you chose. People who pass away and the music that they do that with. Thanks very much there to Max George, former footballer, of course, there, and you remember him as the singer with The Wanted. Thanks for him for joining us here on talkSPORT, where next up we'll be having Paddy's Challenge with Ben Fletcher. You're listening to Kelly and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. This summer, shop Toolstation and award-winning Hawksmoor lawnmower range in store, on app and online. Next stop, Toolstation.
Paddy's Challenge on talkSPORT with Hawksby and Jacobs. What critics are calling one of the many radio quiz segments happening this week. Paddy Power. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
First record I ever bought. This. Time now for Paddy's Challenge, our quiz for charity in association with our friends and an official betting partner, Paddy Power. In Paddy's Challenge, we put our knowledge of the wonderful world of sport to the test with the chance of raising lots of cash for our nominated charities. I'm playing for Team Hawksby's Sporting Memories Network, which is a brilliant, brilliant cause, by the way. And Andy is raising funds for Duchenne UK. Helping to manage proceedings and ensure fair play is our guest quizmaster, Ben Fletcher. Who knew that I would one day stoop so low? Welcome, Ben.
Hey, I'm cheap and I'm available. So in Paddy's Challenge, you'll each be asked 3 multiple-choice questions posed by the voice of Paddy Power, Alistair McGowan. The winner will be the player that scores the most points, and in the event of a tie, you'll both win the chance to raise some cash for your charities. It was a draw last week. Only Andy's prediction that both teams would score in the UEFA Super Cup final between Spurs and PSG came in. So that's £17 into the Duchenne UK pot. Okay. Let's see if we can raise some more cash for your charities this week. I've been told I'm on the clock, so no mucking about today. Yeah. Danny, the virtual coin toss has taken place off air. It has determined that you are going first. If the highly paid technical team are ready, here is your first question.
After letting a 4-shot overnight lead slip to lose the BMW Championship to Scotty Scheffler last weekend, Scots golfer Robert McIntyre had the urge to do what? A. Go for a swim in the course lake. B. Walk off. Or C. Smash up his clubs.
I'll go for the obvious, smash up his clubs.
Good one.
You'd be absolutely right. McIntyre had been hoping to land a third PGA Tour victory, but he opened
Suck
with
that up, Angie. Suck that up.
That means you've got the easy questions. There's a set of easy questions and there's a set of hard questions. That's how this quiz works.
That's a conspiracy theory, which I have no part in. Andy, here's your first question.
Which Premier League goalkeeper became the first victim of the new 8-second rule last weekend? A. Dubravka of Burnley. B. Kelleher of Brentford. Or C. Henderson of Crystal Palace.
No, we both got the easy questions. That's Dubravka.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. The new rules stipulate goalkeepers must distribute the ball after 8 seconds and replaces the 6-second rule, which many refs thought was too harsh and was rarely enforced. Danny, here is your second question.
In a recent podcast, Wayne Rooney revealed that his former England teammate Sol Campbell went for how long without speaking to him after a penalty incident between the pair in Manchester United's 2-0 win against Arsenal during the 2004-05 season? A. 6 weeks. B. 6 months. Or C. 6 years.
Oh, it's got to be 6 years. That ended their unbeaten run. Arsenal didn't it quite rightly as well.
Oh dear.
I'm afraid it was 6 months, believe it or not.
That's far too forgiving.
Well, quite right. More forgiving than you anyway, as I recall. Rooney's goal stopped the Gunners from reaching a 50-game winning streak, so emotions were understandably high. What a shame. So, one apiece at the moment, and an opportunity for you to take the lead. Here's question 2.
Swansea City captain Ben Cabango says the investment into the club by Luka Modric and which rap megastar has generated the most buzz for a long time? A. Snoop Dogg. B. Post Malone. Or C. Eminem.
Peasy. Snoop Dogg.
Pick that one out.
Absolutely right.
And his experience at this quiz is really showing now, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
I told you, my questions have been easy. Yours have been hard.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah. I'd love to add, but I'm being told by Burglar Bill, who produces the show, I don't have time. Question 3, Danny, here it comes.
According to his club, which star's shirt is the highest selling shirt in the world at the moment? A. LeBron James. B. Lionel Messi. Or C. Son Heung-min.
Well, I'm biased, so I'm going to say Son Heung-min is the answer.
Good one.
You're absolutely right. Recently signed a league record deal to join MLS team LAFC. So, Andy, the stakes are quite simple. Get this right. You take home the cash. Get it wrong, we split the pot. Here it comes. Question 3.
Man United's 1-0 defeat by Arsenal last weekend set an unwanted record for United boss Ruben Amorim. It was his 15th Premier League loss in 28 games. The fastest a manager has reached 15 defeats with a non-newly promoted side since Paul Hart did so in 2009 with which team? A. Portsmouth. B. Bournemouth. Or C. Brighton.
I think it was Portsmouth, wasn't it?
3 out of 3, back of the net, bravo!
Absolutely right. Challenging time since Amorim took over from Eric Ten Hag last November. So it is congratulations.
Good man. I played cricket with Paul Hart's. Very nice man. Anyway.
There we go. Stories for another day.
Yes.
Andy, you are today's winner and you've won a free £20 bet that Paddy Power will place for you. So you can try it and win some cash for your charity. It just remains to me to ask, what are you going to go for?
Fletch, you've still got a minute to trash the management. I can't believe it.
Oh, have we?
What am I going to go for? I think I'll go for one for next Monday night, Newcastle to draw with Liverpool.
That's fantastic. Well, since we have got a bit of time, just to explain the Burglar Bill reference, the producer of the show, who I love dearly, always tends to come to work looking like he's about to turn somebody's house over. He's in the hat, all in the hat.
Woolly hat, and if he started painting tiger stripes in green and black on his face, you wouldn't be surprised at all, would you?
And never walks into the building through the front door. He always has to climb through the window.
And he jemmies it. He jemmies it open. The crowbar.
Absolutely, the world's best skeleton key. So that's we'll see how you get on and reveal the winnings next week, gents.
Thank you very much indeed, Ben. We're only rushing through that because normally Ben does a whole lot of entertaining stuff alongside merely adjudicating the quiz, but we are getting closer and closer to the big race. The penultimate of the big races at York. Let's get back to our commentary team. As I say, Bill, we'll have a little break, and when we come back, we'll be building up to and hearing the commentary on the 3 o'clock at York, which is the Voltage Stakes.
Paddy's Challenge on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Yeah, as we've been saying all through the programme, that we're bringing you the big races from York. We'll be bringing you the absolutely hugely prized money Juddmonte at about 3:35. But the horses are getting themselves ready right now for the Sky Bet Great Voltager Stakes. And let's get back to our commentary team. Louis Stewart is doing such a great job. I think it's probably his debut, isn't it? And Rupert Bell.
Yep, welcome back. This is a really thrilling and intriguing contest that with the Derby winner Lambourne. He actually won the Irish Derby after his Epsom heroics. It was seen as something of a surprise, but he's up against 6 very intriguing rivals. Karma, Royal Ascot winner, but over a longer distance. How's this going to... Is it a walk in the park for... Lambourne, Louis?
I mean, on form, Rupert, it should be a dual Derby winner running in the Great Vulture is something that we don't see too often. Ryan Moore drawn in stall 6. Aidan O'Brien has 4 runners in the field, so I would expect this is going to be a true test of stamina for this field. Karma's the second favourite for Paul Toomey and Colin Keane. This horse won over a mile 6 last time out, like Rupert mentioned, so he definitely has the stamina on his side. Drawn in stall 3, he's going to want to be up with the pace as well. We also have to mention Pride of Aris is a Dante winner.
Yeah, winning here earlier this year in May, rearing up in the stalls. Karma's there, but hopefully Colin Keane's got the horse under control, and they're off and racing for this Great Voltager Stakes, seen as a St Ledger trial. Going into the lead and looking to be the pacemaker for Lambourne is Thrice, one of the quartet of Aidan O'Brien runners. Then it's Lambourne in second. Karma's is on the inside, sitting in third. On the outside of that one is Stay True for Aidan O'Brien. Then in first spot we've got Pride of Aris, Mount Kilimanjaro, and the back marker is Arabian Force, who's not settled through the early stages of this 12 furlong contest. But Thrice is out to make it a decent gallop, running at around about 35 miles an hour, a length of the dual Derby winner Lambourne, tracking comfortably enough. Then on the outside is Stay True, on the inside is the Royal Ascot winner Karmas, who's running just for the 4th time but is yet to lose a race in those 3 previous runs. So it's on the line today for Karmas. Then it is Pride of Aris, who ran in the Derby but was very disappointing after his Dante heroics here back in May. On the inside of that one is Mount Kilimanjaro, and the back marker is still the yet to settle Arabian Force. But just easing up now is the jockey on board Thrice, Louis.
Yeah, it looks like a sedate gallop out here by Thrice. They're kind of judging fractions to perfection for the Aidan O'Brien team. 3 of their runners are in the first 4 of the race. Pride of Aris is just slightly 3/4 back, but set to pounce up the home straight.
Well, they're making the looping turn into the home straight with about 4 furlongs to go, and Thrice now has put an injection of pace into it, with Lambourne now in second spot, still as he has been throughout, but he's got Thrice in his slipstream. On the outside of that one is Wayne Lorden, who rode Lambourne to success in the Derby. He's in third. Now trying to pick up is Karmas, but is looking a little bit one pace. Thrice is still out in front. Ryan Moore gets to work on Lambourne now and is coming upside the long-time leader Thrice. Then it Stayed True. It's a 1-2-3 for Aidan O'Brien. Karmas is getting squeezed for room. Pride of Aris has got room, if good enough, to come up on the outside. It's a 3-way go at the moment. Lambourne, Thrice, also Stayed True. Pride of Aris also trying to pick up his Karmas, but just out in front, doubtfully out in front, is Lambourne, and now Pride of Aris is picking up on the outside, and Pride of Aris is the challenger to Stay True, and Lambourne looks beat, and Pride of Aris is picking up. He won the Dante, and now he's won the Great Voltager. He suffered the unkindest cut of all. He's been gelded recently, but my goodness me, it's done him the world of good, because he's rediscovered that Dante winning form, and Pride of Aris has come through and won.
Yeah, course form has come to the fore here, guys. Pride of Aris, Rafe Beckett, what a tremendous trainer. His attention to detail for his horses is second to none. This horse lost his form after the Dante, come good and strong here today. Like Rupert said, he's been cut since then, but he is a Dante winner. He has plenty of speed. The race wasn't set up by all means to suit him. They went quite slow up front, but his turn of foot come to the fore.
And that was the key. Lambourne was very one pace. That was disappointing from the Derby winner, and the others too. Karmas, also Arabian Force was doing some good work in the end, but Pride of Aris coming out at 12-1 to win, and a really impressive performance, I have to say, and has shown a love affair with this place. And I think Rafe Beckett and the team Ross Orion are going to have a lot of fun with this horse now, back to winning ways. Pride of Aris takes the Great Voltager, might be next stop going into the St Ledger back in Doncaster, but today a 12-1 winner. Next up, the Judd Monty. Can't wait for that. Ombudsman and Delacroix going head-to-head again, just as they did at Sandown recently, where Delacroix came out on top.
Thank you very, very much indeed. I imagine the people who look after Lambourne will be a little bit disappointed with that, but I'm no expert on the racing. Remember, Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Ebor Festival at York, where you're hearing the races today here on talkSPORT. This week only, you can join for just £12 per month. Head to racingtv.com/Ebor. Go there now for all the details. Now it's time for Scottish football.
They've done so much better in the second half, but they're effectively now, as the full-time whistle goes, they're 90 minutes away from an elimination. They've got to go to Bruges next week and overturn a 2-goal deficit. Hard to see it happening, but at least they restored some pride on the night, having been 3 down at half-time. It's finished here. Rangers 1, Club Bruges 3.
Yeah, it is a huge week for Scottish football. I'm going to use a Scottish word now. Out with their domestic league, with Celtic, Rangers and Hibs all involved in qualification for the upcoming league stages of European tournaments. But that was a sometimes very, very poor effort by Rangers against Club Brugge in Glasgow last night. To help us discuss it, who else? I've never worked with him in the daylight hours before. I thought he was a vampire. Stuart Weir, Scottish football journalist. You can always hear him through the night at the weekend on talkSPORT. Hello, Stuart.
Good afternoon. I was actually thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And just a minute there. Paul Mitchell giving that commentary in the Rangers game. The amount of abuse Paul Mitchell has taken over the last 2 days for something that's absolutely nothing to do with him from Newcastle United fans is quite incredible.
Well, I guess that's the dangers of the modern job, I guess, Stuart. Look, yesterday we had a Scottish guest on who was very optimistic that the Ibrox atmosphere and Rangers' recent adventures in Europe would see them handily placed by the end of this tie. I did very gently remind him that Club Brugge have been doing really well in Europe over the past, well, almost a decade, plus they're a really well-run club, though this summer they sold 80 million euros worth of players, but still had plenty in the locker. That first 30 minutes was a humbling lesson for Glasgow Rangers.
A chastening 30 minutes, wasn't it? It was everything you least expected came out in that half hour. And, it was interesting to hear Nicky Hayne, the Bruges manager, saying very simply, we knew the spaces that Rangers would leave for us, and we played into them. And the 3 goals, the third goal was just a clearing header that got no distance on it. The second one, nobody picked up the markers. The first goal, my friend sent me a text to say there was a 48-year-old centre-back and a goalkeeper who looked as if he'd just left a wedding reception, and the two of them got slightly mixed up, and hence the reason the first goal, a terrible blunder by two. If you watch John Suter, he goes off at an angle and off at a tangent to give Giga a chance to pass to him. It just doesn't run, and you cannot legislate for that. That said, I think there are 20 minutes into the game, there were disillusioned Rangers fans leaving, which is not something you either want to see or hear.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a little while, Stuart, because the danger, obviously, in these real pressure cooker clubs, of which Rangers is definitely one, is that people make their minds up very, very quickly. But we can hear now from the Rangers boss, Russell Martin, who spoke to the media after his side were beat 3-1 by Brugge last night. He thinks that there's a mentality issue at the club.
Well, I think there's been a fragility of this club for a long, long time, so it's not a new thing. So when I talk about change and changing habits and trying to act in a certain way all the time, it's not easy. So when I say as a club we didn't react very well to them moments, we didn't. Like players, supporters, everyone, because the club's had a lot of pain over the however many years, bar one season, I think, in the last 14 or 15 years. So that, for the players, is really difficult to work through and get over. The fact they did at half-time in the second half, they were fantastic. I think gives us a lot of excitement and hope for what's going to come. But we have to, and the fans are so entitled to their opinion. They are the most important people at the football club. And in the second half, I'll say it again, they were fantastic.
I mean, Russell's an intelligent guy, Stuart, but that kind of talking about immeasurables, like spirit, and it's the kind of ongoing issue with the club. It's actually, but whatever he says about that, he was the one who put out a defence and a midfield that left gaps the size of the Pacific Ocean for the Belgians.
Well, he did
to play
blame
into.
everybody else except himself. If you heard.
You could tick off. Andy was ticking off a list there. Yeah, only Taylor Swift didn't get blamed there, did she?
Something like that.
Russell Martin bingo. The thing is, he can see all these things, but he's part of the issue, or a big part of the issue. But the Rangers fans bought into Russell Martin right at the outset, because simply they were told when he came to the club, he was given this big fanfare and told this was the guy who was the best for the job. And the sporting director at Rangers, Kevin Thelwell, he said of Russell Martin, believe it or not, his teams play dominant football. They control the ball, dictate the tempo, and impose themselves physically. They press aggressively and work relentlessly off the ball. These are all the characteristics that we believe are required to be successful at home, away, and abroad. I'm sorry, we have not seen any of that this season. And, the Rangers fans have known a result like last night was coming. They've watched Rangers since the start of the season, and it wasn't a fact that it was a surprise to them. They knew this result, or a result similar to this, was going to come, and it was just by how many. And a lot of them had said, well, it'll be the end of the month when we play Celtic. But now that Celtic game's in the horizon, there are other big games for Rangers, starting with St Mirren this weekend. And after the international break, they've got a game at home against Hearts and a League Cup tie against Hibs. The pressure is only going to mount on Russell Martin because he has no time to work in. And he keeps saying, well, the players are new, we're trying new ideas. Yeah, we know this. But there's none of the players that seem to be able to carry out your instruction, and that is particularly worrying.
And he's in danger of getting a kind of pincer movement here, because the fans, some of them appeared, and not all of them, there were people leaving, of course, they appear to have made up their mind that they're not liking what they see about the project. But the board at Rangers can't very well start moving the manager out after a month and a half. So it's already a tricky-looking early season. Now, of course, if they beat Celtic in the upcoming game that you mentioned, suddenly everything in the garden will be rosy again. But if they don't, then that tension is going to become greater and greater.
It is, yes. And the thing is, if you see the youth players that are coming into the club, and some of them are making a difference, and at moments and at flashes they have, then you could say, yeah, Rangers are progressing. But there is nothing in this team that says they're going to be any different to what they were under Philippe Clement or several other managers prior to that. I mean, Rangers are in a rebuild situation, but I think the fans actually might have been somewhat easier to satisfy had Rangers spent real money, as they were promised, during the summer, rather than bringing in dozens of loan players. I mean, Rangers back four, you've got three guys who are all on loan. That doesn't do anything for confidence.
Although I will say, Gassama, the left-sided forward, he looks like he's a proper player.
He was a bit unlucky with that goal.
If they can get Mikey Moore moving on the other side as well, then they will have a great deal of threat up front. I guess, what about tonight? Celtic are playing a team that I'm loath, Stuart, to say it, they ought to beat.
Yeah, they should. I think if you look at it, there's something like 15-2 on to win this tie. That tells you everything. What Celtic will be trying to do, to be absolutely honest in this one, is try to score 4, 5, maybe even more.
Put the thing to bed.
Get this tie out of the way, because when they go for the return leg, it's a hell of a journey and a hell of a trip they face in midweek or next week. And of course, they have the Old Firm game that following weekend. So Celtic will be trying to make this as easy as possible for themselves over the next couple of 10 days.
Listen, thank you very much indeed, Stuart. And yes, you do look lovely in the daylight. That is very, very nice. So thank you so much indeed. Stuart Weir, you hear him all the time on through the night here on talkSPORT when he reviews the newspapers with such insight and gusto. And thanks to him for joining us. You're listening to Kelly. And actually, let me just tell you what's coming next. So it's really important. We're going to talk about prostate cancer among men. And the person coming in to talk to us is the former Spurs midfielder David Howells, who I much have watched play with my own eyes at least 200 times, Absolutely. Andy. So it'd be very nice to see him in the flesh. Because, of course, he played hundreds of times for Spurs back in the day, including winning the FA Cup in 1991. He'll be with us in the studio next. Just a reminder, though, that you are listening to Kelly and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. This summer, shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksmoor lawnmower range in store, on app and online. Your next stop is Toolstation.
Tottenham 2, Burnley 0. Troy Deeney is up on his feet, applauding his former teammate Richarlison. He has just helped himself to his second, and this is an absolute barnstormer. Finished Tottenham 3, Burnley 0. Thomas Frank's tenure as Spurs boss in the Premier League is off to a flyer, and it was a chastening return to the top flight for the Clarets.
Yeah, we'll talk about the mighty Spurs in just a second. But we've got a very serious issue to talk about next, and I shouldn't be quite so excited as I am to talk about it. We're going to talk about prostate cancer. It's now, of course, with the more recent advances, welcome advances in the treatment of breast cancer, it's become the most common cancer in England. 1 in 8 men can expect to get prostate cancer during the course of their lifetime. Somebody who has had it and has come in to talk about it and is causing me to be so excited is David Howells. He played in Spurs' midfield for hundreds of games. I saw most of them. Indeed, those of you who want to know the truth about these things, once Gazza was injured in the 1991 Cup final, it was David who drove Spurs to victory. David, I am so delighted to see you. How are you? Welcome aboard. How are you doing?
Build up.
Oh, thank you so much, Danny. Yeah, it's great to be here. Good to speak to you. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. And you, sir, are a person who has had prostate cancer and survived it. Tell us about that before we get into what people can do to help with the whole project of trying to defeat this condition.
Yeah, so I did. My story started actually 2 years ago. My brother had prostate cancer, and when he was having his treatment, the specialist looking after him said, "Have you got any brothers?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got an older brother." He said, "Right, his likelihood of having it."
What a man that guy was.
Yeah,
then.
He needs to go and have tests because it's hereditary.
Sure.
Yeah. So I went and had a test the Christmas before last. My number was okay, below 3, considered normal, no problem at all. I then had another test Christmas just gone, and the number was slightly risen. It was 4.9. So that requires investigation. I had the biopsy and then an MRI, and then I went and saw the specialist, and he said to me, "Right, you've got prostate cancer."
Wow.
But, and it was so positive, my man, really incredible guy, and he just said, "But," and he reeled off some stats about my number and the type of prostate cancer that I had. It was contained, and the success rate, and it really put me at ease. And he gave me the options of what I could have in terms of treatment, and very clear and concise about that. And I decided what I was going to do. I had an operation to remove the prostate in February this year, and that was a success. And I've had 2 subsequent blood tests, which are 0.0.01 or something like that. So really, really negligible. That's good.
Wonderful news. And you look great, by the way. So
Thank you.
That's good. Look, as a cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, I know I only survived because they caught it early enough. And it's getting people to understand, not to be afraid of the words, prostate and cancer, they're just words. The condition can be treated, but like most of these things, you need to catch it earlier and be aware that it's around. And that's what I think this campaign is largely about, yes?
Absolutely, yeah, it's awareness. And there are certain categories of people who need to be more aware. Age, obviously, if you, and it's not always the case, but over 50, you should start be thinking about having your PSA test. And obviously certain ethnic minorities
are more, men are very, very
more at risk.
To it, yes.
Absolutely. So you need to start thinking about it at a certain age. I never had any symptoms, to be honest.
Which of course makes it all the more dangerous.
Yeah. So of course, yeah. So my awareness was raised because my brother Gareth had it, and so that's why I went and was having regular tests. I probably wouldn't have done. And because I didn't have any symptoms, I would have just been carrying on life as normal with this thing spreading around inside me, then eventually going off like a firework, and that's when it's a big problem.
Tell us about Prostate United then, because I think it's an annual campaign, yes?
Absolutely, yeah. So each year, Prostate Cancer UK have a thing called Prostate United, which runs throughout the month of October, and it's for anybody. We talk about it being for football fans and employees of football clubs, but it's for anybody really who wants to take up the challenge. And the challenge is to move every day, to either run, cycle, or even walk every day during the month of October, and try and raise funds and, just as importantly, awareness for prostate cancer.
There must be a website that people can go to.
Absolutely, yes. So it's Prostate Cancer UK. You can just put in that into a search engine, or just go onto the Prostate Cancer UK website and sign up for it.
It doesn't need me to tell everybody listen to David's voice there how important that is, not just to do the fundraising, but also if you have a friend or relative who is in that group, men of a certain age and all the rest of it. People sometimes are a bit scared of these things. Just make sure that anybody who should get a test does get a test, because usually they're fine. But if they're not fine, the earlier you find it, the better it is. David Rusteno lays us a little bit of space here, and I've made sure a little bit of space in the schedule for of course, I see you over at the football stadium. Obviously, being a Spurs fan, such a weight lifted from our shoulders when they lifted the Europa League. Suddenly, we can look forward and not endlessly back at the club. Is that fair?
Of course, yeah. We were all completely over the moon to get that trophy under our belts. To just put that one to bed for another 18 years. Yeah. But no, seriously, it was just a marvellous occasion.
Yeah, you suggest it's going to be another
no, it won't be. It won't be. But it's a disgrace that it was. We don't care about the game. It didn't matter.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Andy. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
Two utterly mediocre teams, but there we go. What can you do? I think Spurs look like they've done some good business, and they were right to get rid of Ange, I think.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we loved Ange, but I can see why they made the change. And if you look at Thomas Frank's first 2 games, even just the way he's set up 2 completely different systems, I think it's what they were looking for. And like I say, we loved Ange, and we loved, especially when he first came in, Ange was like a breath of fresh air. He came into a quite despondent club and really gave us something to believe in, and a style of football which, especially in the outset, we loved. But of course, you can't lose that many games in a league season and expect to carry on, I don't think. And so they made the change.
David, we're counting down the seconds apparently to Ebere Eze being announced as Spurs player. But to me, the most important signing they're going to make all summer is signing on Christian Romero for another 4 years. I know people say, and particularly ex-pros, he's got a mistake in him and all the rest of it, but I think he's a wonderful footballer.
Absolutely he is. Yeah, you're not Argentinian centre half and World Cup winner if you're not a wonderful footballer. He is
a red card.
He's got a red card. Yeah, maybe not a mistake, although some of those are mistakes, of course. But I do think he's a fantastic player, and I didn't see it coming, to be honest.
No, it looked like he was off to Madrid.
Yeah, I think that was all the talk last year, was that he might be going. So I'm really, really pleased to see him commit to the future. And some of his comments have been really encouraging, and he could become one of the great players for us.
Big test on Saturday. I'm really fascinated to see how they go, because I think they're going to make it difficult for City.
Live on talkSPORT, of course.
It's going to be a great
against
game.
Spurs.
But what I felt with watching Spurs last week, and Eze will address this, that fine, if it's 0-0, 1-0, they go 1-0 up, that's fine. But if they go to City and they go 1-0 down, then it might be a problem. I think. Creativity is
getting the ball forward.
Quite there. Yeah. With Maddison and Kulusevski out.
Yeah, Kudus was sensational on Saturday, 2 assists. And just his general all-round game, I think he'll be loved at Spurs. He's just got that way about him.
A skillful player who likes a row, that is a great combination.
Physically,
he
looks ready for it, doesn't he? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I think he's going to be a terrific signing for us, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets even better. Yeah, and as regards we are going to miss Maddison. Maddison is the sort of player who makes things happen in tight areas up the pitch. So if we can get that deal across the line, which I really hope we can, then I think it'd be a great bit of business for us.
I'm stupidly optimistic. I think Spurs can challenge for the top 4 this season. Do you share my optimism?
Yeah, I do. I think the top 4 from last time will be hard to shift.
Sure,
but why not? I think if we can keep everybody fit, I think the 2 centre halves are massively important to us. Each time they're on the pitch, if they're on the pitch more often than not, we'll win more often than not. It's so important.
It's the same with all the teams. Injuries just drive you mad, and they just wreck your season. If it's a key player, then that's what makes all this predicting at the start of the season so
waste of time.
Absolutely.
David, again, once more, give out the web address that people can go and read all about how to raise funds for prostate cancer and the reasons why you should be doing it.
Yeah, well, Prostate Cancer UK is the website, and you can just put that into search engines.
Yeah,
and it's Prostate United that is the campaign. Runs throughout October. You can walk, run, cycle any distance, but try and do it every day. And it's about raising funds for this wonderful charity.
And it can practice spin bowling, which is already very, very good. Of course, it's a wonderful, and I say, particularly as it's now the most common cancer among men, among everybody in England. We've got to get after it. So David has given you an indication of how so to do, and I want to thank him for joining us in the studio, and as well for being a living example of how you can do well after it, which is a positive.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, I mean, I feel exactly normal. Honestly, no problems at all, and you can be like that if you get it early. So go for the test.
Thanks, David.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, very soon we'll be getting all the latest on all those big transfer stories from Ben Jacobs, talkSPORT's transfer czar. First, though, the horses are getting themselves ready for the big, and I mean big, race of the day at York. The £750,000 to the winner, Juddmonte International Stakes. Of course, it's a Group 1 event. Let's get over to our commentary team of Louis Stewart and Rupert Bell.
Yeah, eagerly anticipated contest. This horse race last year was voted best in the world in terms of quality, and this is no exception this year. Louis, this is an absolute corker. 6 runners. Burcastle maybe just the outsider, but the other 5, any one of those could win this.
Yeah, well, we're lacking quantity in this year's field. Only 6 runners, but plenty of depth in this. Is a real high-class horse race, as it should be. This is the race that, you know, the best 10 furlong horses all around the world, like we see the Japanese coming over this year, come to compete in. And Ombudsman and William Buick is a real picture. He canted down to post lovely. The one thing I did notice is Danon Desau, the Japanese horse, went to post very keenly, so it'd be interesting to see how he switches off in the race.
Well, obviously Ombudsman and Delacroix served up a tasty dish at the Coral Eclipse recently at Sandown. Funny race that, and Ombudsman didn't quite work out. People expecting Ombudsman to win here and get back in front of Delacroix.
Yeah, well, Sandown is a race that, you know, poses plenty of problems for jockey and horse. It's got a real tight right-handed bend at the bottom of the straight, and it can pose many problems like it did last time out. They kind of got into a bit of a barging match. Ombudsman wanted the same position as Delacroix did, and in hindsight, Ryan Moore took back. He made the right decision on the day, but I do believe that Ombudsman could be the slightly better horse here today at York.
Well, Darris is an interesting French raider. They haven't won this race since 1987, but he's unbeaten, 4 from 4. But maybe the ground might be a little bit too quick for this particular 3-year-old, but they're often running for the Juddmonte International Stakes over an extended 10 furlongs, and the Japanese raider Danon Desau not quite settling as they perhaps would like, recently winning in Dubai at the big World Cup meeting, but Burcastle is doing his job as pacemaker, and to the free-running Danon Desau in second, Ombudsman, Delacroix, then it is C de Far in the back marker as the French raider Darris, and Burcastle has gone 4 or 5 lengths clear, setting a strong pace, but the other 5 are no more than a length and a half separating them. So an interesting tactical battle is going to unfold here, Louis.
Yeah, this has turned into a real curveball. Danon Desau now taken back from Burcastle, the pacemaker. The pacemaker is a long way ahead of this second pack behind the main runner. I do worry now when these things happen, it can take a lot of pegging back.
Yep, and we've seen it many times. So Burcastle at the moment is a long way clear. He's probably 8, 9, 10, well, further than that, he's 15 lengths clear. And wow, he's got to take a lot of pegging back. This might be a strange race. Have the other 5 been caught napping here, Louis?
Yeah, potentially. Ombudsman in a great position to challenge, but Burcastle tearing off like a scolded cat down the home straight.
And they're probably a length and it's half a furlong in front of them as they come into the straight. What's going on here? Because Burcastle has scorched into the lead of Rab Havlin. There's a look of disbelief amongst the crowd here because Burcastle isn't for stopping Danon Desau. The gap is shortening, but at the moment Burcastle with 2 furlongs to go, it doesn't look like for catching. Danon Desau and Ombudsman and Darris are trying to pick up, and Delacroix. He is starting to tie up now, so the race, the chasing pack might be able to get to him with a furlong to go, but Burcastle has been kept up to his task. Ombudsman is trying to get to him, and Ombudsman may get to him. Ombudsman now firing, storming home. Ombudsman getting up now, overtaking Burcastle. C de Far trying to run on Delacroix, but Ombudsman has stormed to success here, winning by 4 lengths. A strange race. There's no 2 ways about that one, Louis. But Ombudsman showing its class.
Wow, no jockey panicked in the trio that was following the pacemaker Burcastle. It looked a real tricky race around the home bend. Ombudsman and William Buick sat so comfortably behind, knowing that he was going to peg back Burcastle. Danon Desau, jockey coming over here to York for the first time. We thought he might have got it wrong round the top stretch, but they definitely didn't. Ombudsman placed to perfection by William Buick, and he really is a high-class performer.
Yeah, it's a strange race that was, but Burcastle so far in front, but William Buick never panicked, was in the same colours, so they probably knew what the game plan was, but in the end Ombudsman has proved that he is the best 10 furlong horse around, because he turned it in the end into a rout. The two horses in the same ownership, the jockeys having a little discussion, a little smile on Rab Havlin's face, who's saying, I don't think I was meant to go half a furlong in front, but in the end it all came off. So well done to Ombudsman. Class proved there, no doubt ways about it. That was a stunningly good performance in what looked like an odd race to watch.
Listen, thank you very much to Rupert Bell and Louis Stewart. They'll be back tomorrow with all the big races.
I tried to get a pound on him at 200
Oh,
to
the
1.
drama in the studio here. Andy said to me, one of those horses is 200 to 1 in a 6-horse race. You must have... And next thing, he was fumbling with his phone, even more energetically when he was trying to find the naked pictures of me online. But you failed in the end. Which,
I had to deposit.
You got to run for your money.
I know. I had to deposit the money, and by the time I deposited and was going to put a pound on him, the race had already started, so it was too late. But as he's winning, I'm thinking, oh no.
But of course, I hadn't realised they were at the same stable, so he was really a pacemaker for
He finished
Ombudsman.
third, though, so he would have.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Prize money, no question.
And he's beaten some very, very, very good horses there. So that was great fun, particularly watching Andy's face when he was half a furlong ahead.
Wasn't good, was it?
No. Okay, listen, well, that's been great fun all throughout today's show. More tomorrow, as I say, when Rupert and Louis will join us again. Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Ebor Festival at York. This week only, you can join for just £12 per month. Head to racingtv.com/Ebor right now for details. Right, let's talk about football transfers. Ben Jacobs, who is our football transfer czar, is with us. Hello, Ben.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm almost losing the will to live with one or two of these transfers.
Yeah, I know.
So let's
the
go
last
back.
2 weeks are unbearable.
I know the feeling.
Let's go back to my own club then. Is Eberici Eze crawling inch by inch, centimetre by centimetre, millimetre over millimetre closer to actually joining Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
Yeah, as we said yesterday, there's not really a problem between the clubs, not on fee anyway. There's always small details. It's more just about whether or not Palace can line up a replacement. And as we alluded to yesterday, Eberici Eze is not taking the tactic of Johan Wissa or Alexander Isak. He wants to train and play for Crystal Palace, so it won't be a surprise if he's involved in the UEFA Conference League. It doesn't cup tie him for Champions League or anything like that as far as Spurs are concerned. And this one is really close, but still contingent on Crystal Palace picking and lining up a replacement. They're not far off an agreement for Bilal El-Khanous at Leicester, but there's other options, including Tyler Dibbling. And I think that's the delay. It will still be a surprise if it's not done before the week is out, or at least by the end of this weekend. But I think Tottenham need to be quick now, simply because Kai Havertz has picked up an injury at Arsenal. It's still being assessed. They could move for another attacker. Now, logically, it would be a number 9 because Kai Havertz is more advanced than Eze, but you never know. And I think if Tottenham are to avoid any surprises and have a one-horse race and win it, ultimately, they'll want to get a move on and make sure that this is all wrapped up by the end of the week. But some of it is a waiting game because of the Crystal Palace aspect and finding a replacement in this story.
You know who Eze supports, don't you?
He's an Arsenal fan.
He is an Arsenal fan.
So he won't want to go to Chelsea then?
No. Chelsea don't need him. But I think Palace are taking a massive risk here. If either of these players, Gay or him, get injured, it's going to wreck the whole thing. I don't quite get why they're playing them. They know they're going. I mean, it's, I think, quite a strange move by them. But, we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about Newcastle then, and not the obvious, but Johan Wissa. Apparently, Newcastle have now made another firm offer for the Brentford forward.
Yeah, an exclusive we broke earlier, myself and chief football correspondent Alex Crook. The offer's £35 million, £5 million in add-ons. The 40 million number is probably about as high as Newcastle are prepared to go, give or take, and depending on negotiations around structure. Now, Brentford had said a few days ago that it wasn't 50 million anymore. The number was 60. Now we'll find out if that's grandstanding or whether Brentford will sanction the exit, with Wissa doing what Alexander Isak has done and not training with the group and waiting this one out and hoping he gets his move to play Champions League football for the first and maybe only time in his career. From Brentford's point of view, we've always been led to believe that Dango Ouattara is a replacement for Brian Mbeumo, and therefore another number 9 may have to come in before Wissa's allowed to leave. But it all just depends on the club hierarchy now, because clearly Newcastle saw Isak's message and said, we're going to double down, and Liverpool either have to pay the asking price or they're maybe not going to bid at all. But I think Brentford's hierarchy may have a slightly different perspective, and they are, I'm told, somewhat empathetic towards Wissa's wish to play Champions League football. So the next 24, 48 hours are key. If it's accepted, it all obviously happens very quickly. If it's turned away, I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle don't bid again, and then we might be in territory where Wissa feels he needs to make some kind of public statement.
Yeah, but I mean, 40 million for a 28-year-old, they should take that. They really should, I think. Anyway, but we'll see what happens.
You threatened me with the Eze thing becoming derailed. Have Chelsea got any other options if Kai Havertz's injury turns out to be very serious? Or could the owners just say to the manager, you do seem to have about 400 footballers here. Why don't you try
Are you talking about Chelsea or Arsenal?
Chelsea.
Right.
Oh, sorry, he said Arsenal because I lost my mind there.
Because Havertz not affected by it. Doesn't affect what happens at Chelsea.
No, sorry, beg your pardon. I'd gone back a season and a half there.
Chelsea have got a lot of players they still want to get rid of. And Nkunku is really the key for them, isn't it?
Fofana's not happy either.
Well, we don't know about this. There's been a denial that there's any problem at all, that it's just some housekeeping with his Instagram. We shall see. Look, he's only played about 6 games in the last 3 years, so he won't be missed, will he? Let's be honest.
It's a whole new tactic, Ben, this cancelling your social media, referring to your employers. Ben, I wonder if you get tapped up by the BBC, will you disappear from our social media?
Can guarantee you the talkSPORT photos will remain on my feed, always loyal to this network. And I think from Chelsea's point of view, briefly on Fofana, as you allude to, the player side say no issue, and it is just sort of housekeeping. But a lot of Chelsea photos and videos have gone, so a bit bizarre, but we don't have any clarity there. And Nkunku is the main one, along with Nico Jackson, that Chelsea want to resolve, because it might unlock their ability to get Alejandro Garnacho and Xavi Simons. Some sources say that Garnacho's the kind of lock. And actually, if Aston Villa make a competitive offer for Nico Jackson, Chelsea might ask audaciously about Morgan Rogers, and Rogers would be the dream target, but Xavi Simons is the more feasible one. And then several other outgoings. Carney Chukwuemeka now in talks with Juventus. That could come off, but it has to be a permanent exit. We know Chukwuemeka would like to go back to Dortmund, but they've not been able to meet Chelsea's asking price, which throughout the summer has been as high as £40 million. And then there's some forgotten names that have big wages that Chelsea would like to resolve between now and the end of the window. Raheem Sterling, Ben Chilwell, Axel Disasi, and some younger players as well. For example, Alfie Gilchrist, who could be sold or loaned. Aaron Anselmino, not going to be sold, but could be loaned as well. So there's a lot of work for Chelsea to do. 6 or 7 out the door, and they're hoping for 2 more attackers between now and the end of the window.
Ben, fantastic. Thank you very, very much indeed. And don't forget, for all the latest transfer news, head over to talksport.com and check out our live blog. Or listen to the Transfers Insiders tonight with Flex and Rory Jennings from 7 o'clock for an absolutely full roundup. Yeah, the NFL returns to Wembley in October as the Los Angeles Rams take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we have a huge competition to win VIP tickets. That's right, we're giving you the chance to win 6 seats in a private box at Wembley Stadium with full hospitality and, wait for it, $5,000 spending money. Here is how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
A little later than usual, and a little later than I hope, because of the racing from York. We're going over to South America now to join regular correspondent and, of course, very much part of the furniture on Trans-Europe Express on a Sunday night, Tim Vickery. Hello, Tim.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Very, very good indeed. Now, on Sunday, you told us that a huge record was about to be broken by the Fluminense goalkeeper Fabio, and he's now done it. Tell everyone about that.
Yeah, he's done it. Peter Shilton held the record for the number of professional games, 1,390. Wow. He holds it no longer. Fabio, 44 years of age, of Fluminense, overtook it last night. I actually think this should be a huge story. I think this should be shouted out on billboards all over the world. What a magnificent achievement. 44 years of age, and ain't no stopping him now. He's under contract until the end of next year, and he's going to go on and on and on. This is a goalkeeper who, in his 40s, had one of those coaches who demands that you play out from the back. He had to learn how to kick a ball in his 40s, how to play out from and he did it. Go on.
Yeah, I said, didn't he play against Chelsea in the Club World Cup? I think he did.
He did. He had an excellent Club World Cup. In one of the previous rounds, when they beat second round, it's their happy moment, I think, when they beat Inter Milan. They were really coming under the cosh. They scored early, really coming under the cosh. And the game was boiling down to a contest between Lautaro Martinez, the Inter Milan Argentine centre-forward, and Fabio in goal. And straight after the game, his old mate, Felipe Melo, you remember him from Juventus, from Turkey, from playing for Brazil in the 2010 World Cup. He was playing for Fluminense until quite recently. He's now doing media punditry. But Felipe Melo said, look, forget his age. Put him in the Brazil side. He's good enough.
Because this is interesting, Tim. He has played all this time, has never appeared for Brazil, though he's made squads and tournament squads.
Yep.
You were saying on Sunday that you thought Ancelotti should give him a run out, even if it's only for 10 minutes, just as to mark his astonishing achievement.
They've got 2 great goalies already, though.
They do. They've got 3 now. The fellow at Leeds is a great goalkeeper too, trust me.
Yeah, plenty. And the fellow who decided not to join West Ham, John, may still join Man United. Possible. He's pretty good. They've become a breeding ground of goalkeepers, Brazil. Much to our surprise, because when we were kids, that wasn't the case.
That's true.
But it would be lovely to see Fabio get a game from Brazil. And as I say, Felipe Melo is arguing, this isn't charity. This wouldn't be charity. Get him in the team. Yeah. He's still good enough. He is an extraordinary story, and he competed for a long time with Julio César, who briefly played for QPR, but mainly known for Inter Milan and Brazil. And kind of Julio César won. Although, given the way that those 2 World Cups that he played turned out, he probably wishes that he hadn't. But Fabio's revenge has been longevity.
Tim, we are so pressed for time. I want to move on to the next story that I could talk about Fabio for a long, long time. Very familiar, of course, to European football fans. Neymar, Philippe Coutinho. They came up in the youth ranks together with Brazil. They met on Sunday in a league match. The result was extraordinary, and the aftermath was extraordinary.
Yeah, it was Santos at home, playing in Sao Paulo, not in Santos, where they got big support because of the Pele years. Both teams hovering on the edge of the relegation zone, but Santos big favourites for this game. Vasco without their centre-forward who scores most of their goals. Did it matter? Not a jot. Santos 0, Vasco da Gama 6. Don't know what the score in the second set is going to be, but they fell apart. I mean, it was very good Vasco tactically, worked the extra man in midfield. Coutinho was always free. And they ripped them to pieces, and Neymar just looked a broken man at the end of the game.
He was crying, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yes, I don't ever think he's really learned how to lose, and I think if you want to win, you've got to learn how to lose along the way. Brazil call up their squad on Monday for the last 2 rounds of World Cup qualifiers. There's been a lot of speculation that he might be in. He's on a pre-list, but he hasn't done very much. And he's not going to have a chance to show what he can do before then, because yet again, he got another petulant yellow card for dissent, and he's suspended for the only game they've got before then. So watch this space with interest. It could well be that Ancelotti wants to get him back into the group, not based on anything he's done over the last few months when he's playing his way back to fitness, but based on what potentially he might be able to do in the World Cup this time next year. But it's looking a long shot at the moment.
Any chance of Philippe Coutinho being in the Brazilian squad?
Well, all the Vasco fans are saying yes, 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 but this was probably his only good game since he's been back. So I think you can mark that one down as unlikely. Okay. It is a strange 2 games because they're at home to Chile, who can't qualify, bottom of the table, stand-in coach, not interested, and they're away to Bolivia, where the altitude is so much that it's just a one-off. So Ancelotti may well call up players who you won't see again.
Tim, as always, fantastic talk to you. See you Sunday, of course, for Trans-Europe Express. Tim Vickery there, everybody, live from Brazil, which just about wraps it up for us today. Again, enjoyed it hugely, Andy. Thank you for much, all your contributions on your own show. I should make that point.
Looking forward to tomorrow when you take part in your first ever birthday spread. It's good. You don't really know what it is, but we'll explain it to you. And I think you're going to be really good.
I do hope you survive tonight when you'll find the naked pictures of me in that film. And please try and come in on Friday without the image spoiling your day. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. With a T-shirt made of it, absolutely right. People already in sort of streaming services. Why is everyone wanting to see Divorcing Jack all of a sudden? This is odd. We've got all these blinking
boost.
We've got all these Tom Cruise films. Why do they want to see Divorcing Jack? Listen, thank you all for listening. Drive is up next. All I can say, as I always do, good afternoon to you and God bless you all.